Daddy, where are we going? This does not look like the way home. Hearing this, my heart suddenly tightened. I did not know how to explain to Nuonyuo that I was already divorced, and that we were moving out to live on our own. After a moment of silence, Nuonyuo, Daddy is taking you to live in a new place. Hearing this, the little girl tilted her head, her big eyes blinking brightly. Are there fun things and yummy food at the new place? I forced a slight smile. There should be. Nuonyuo blinked her eyes, as if she suddenly thought of something. Daddy, are we never going back to that home again? 1. I know you and Mommy got divorced. I was completely stunned. I did not expect my daughter, as young as she was, to already understand the meaning of divorce. Baby, how did you know? Nuonyuo proudly raised her little chin. I heard Mommy and Grandma talking about it on the phone. Nuonyuo, listen, from now on it will just be the two of us. Things might be a little tough, but Daddy will always be with you. After hearing this, the little girl happily hopped up and down twice, reaching out her chubby little arms to rub against me. It is okay, Daddy. Anyway, in the house with Mommy, I was always unhappy too. This little girl's reaction was quite beyond my expectations. But thinking carefully, it made perfect sense. Children are always closest to whoever takes care of them. My ex-wife always had a bad temper anyway. Whenever she was home, the atmosphere was always tense. Plus, she never really cared for the kid. You could say I basically did everything myself. No wonder she was not liked by her own child. Daddy, let us go to our new home. Seeing me space out, Nuonyuo tugged at the corner of my shirt, her face full of anticipation. 15 minutes later, I was holding a fast asleep Nuonyuo as we arrived in front of an old residential building. Compared to our previous high-end apartment complex, this place was indeed dilapidated, but fortunately, it was very close to the kindergarten, and the rent was quite cheap. For us right now, it was the most suitable place to settle down. Having left the marriage with nothing, and only asking for custody of my daughter, I had a mere 30,000 bucks in my pocket. I was truly too poor. With so little money, how could I raise a child all by myself? Ding! Detected that the host is currently single and unemployed. The random food stall system is officially activated. Since this is the host's first time activating the system, you are rewarded with a newbie gift pack, God-tier braised pig trotter recipe. Current stall task, sell 500 portions of braised pig trotters within a week. Stall location, Xingming Park. The system will provide ingredients and a mobile food cart. The host can check them at any time. Complete the task to receive a mysterious reward. I used to love reading web novels during my free time while looking after the kid, so I was naturally no stranger to the existence of a system. I just never expected that one day an ordinary guy like me would also get a cheat code. But then again, selling 500 trotters in a week, that means selling at least 70 a day. Bro system, are you sure these will sell? The next instant, my mind was suddenly flooded with countless knowledge points about making braised trotters. It is not that I would never made braised trotters for Nuonyuo before. Just blanch it to remove the raw smell, add the seasoning packet, and simmer until fork tender. It seemed like anyone with hands could do it, but under the guidance of the God-tier braised pig trotter skill, I realized my previous cooking was simply a waste of ingredients. Every single step was incredibly meticulous. Thank goodness my little foodie at home was always so appreciative, eating whatever I cooked with great relish. If I actually mastered making these braised pig trotters, the greedy little girl would probably gain a few pounds. I happen to be hungry right now anyway, so I might as well test my skills. I went to the kitchen and summoned 3 pig trotters from the system, along with seasonings and cookware. The seasonings provided by the system were absolutely top-tier goods. Row upon row, there were dozens of kinds, getting more fragrant as they boiled, naturally producing a premium braising broth. As for the pig trotters, they had quite a background too. The system introduced them as mountain-bred native pigs that grew up drinking mountain spring water and eating wild fruits and vegetables. The meat naturally carried a fresh scent of nature, and the flavor was even more rich and mellow. Honestly, the system did not even need to explain. When I saw these washed pig trotters, full in shape with slightly protruding tendons, looking like a piece of white mutton fat jade, I knew they were absolutely top-notch. I put the cold trotters into a pot of cold water to blanch them. Scallion segments and ginger slices were already prepared, but I was still missing cooking wine and water. According to the system's instructions, I could not use ordinary tap water for this. It had to be produced by the system, genuine mountain spring water. After all, brewing tea with different brands of mineral water yields different tastes. But the cooking wine could not be the ordinary $8 a bottle stuff from the market either. It was best to use an 82 vintage Matai. Talk about being particular and extravagant. With a mere thought, I summoned these 2 items from the system's inventory. Instantly, there appeared on the kitchen counter a small basin of ice-cold mountain spring water. This was for cooling the pig trotters. Through sudden cold shrinkage, the meat would become firm and chewier. After bringing the pot to a rolling boil, I skimmed off the floating scum, scooped out the trotters to cool down, and drained the water. Taking advantage of this gap, I started melting sugar for color in the wok. The rock sugar was genuinely produced in my bamboo garden. It was naturally pale yellow and incredibly translucent, giving off a faint sugarcane fragrance. Gradually, a slight sizzling sound came from the wok. Tiny bubbles slowly rose from the bottom of the sugar, and its color changed from light yellow to caramel. Then I added the spices and stir-fried them until fragrant. Just the smell of it was enough to make anyone drool uncontrollably. I swallowed hard, quickly tossed the trotters into the wok, and stir-fried them a few times. I added water, light soy sauce, and dark soy sauce, and began stewing. However, I did not stay idle. In Nuonuo's little backpack, there were still clothes she had dirted during lunch. Although we had a washing machine, when it came to my daughter's clothes, I always insisted on hand washing them myself. I pulled up a small stool, and as I scrubbed, the corners of my mouth unknowingly curled up into a smile. Not every daddy can be the richest man, but every daddy has to wash clothes for his baby. During this time, the pot of trotters on the stove was emitting billowing steam. Under the high heat, the fat in the trotters was slowly being boiled out, blending into the broth and releasing a rich aroma. An hour later, Nuonuo was quietly awakened by an enticing fragrance. Still half asleep, she slightly opened her eyes, a trace of confusion in her gaze. However, the aroma was simply too captivating, pulling her bit by bit out of her drowsiness, until she gradually became wide awake. The next moment, Nuonuo jolted up and hopped out of bed. Her little bare feet hit the floor, as she dashed excitedly toward the source of the smell. In the kitchen, holding a spatula, I was just about to flip the trotters. The moment the pot lid was lifted, the scent of spices, wrapped in steam, rushed straight to my head. Smells so good. Standing beside me, Nuonuo twitched her cute little nose. Her eyes closed, looking completely mesmerized. "Daddy, what are you making? I want to eat," the little one shouted excitedly. A second later, with quick reflexes, I hurriedly closed the lid. "These are braised pig trotters, but they are not ready yet. If you want to eat, you have to wait a bit." For braised food like this, naturally, the longer it stews, the better it tastes. Even though I had just gently poked it with a chopstick, and the meat was already tender, it was still far from ready to be eaten. Hearing that it was not cooked yet, Nuonuo's expectant eyes instantly dimmed a little. Her little mouth pouted high, her face full of disappointment. But she was a child after all. Not even a minute later, the little one could not hold back anymore. "Daddy, please, I really want to eat. Just own tiny bite, pretty please." "Oh, my daughter, let us just talk normally. Is there a need to shake your head and act all cute like this? Your old man really can't resist it at all." All right, 10 more minutes and we can dig in." Hearing this, Nuonuo blinked her big watery eyes and nodded. Honestly, I could not blame the kid. The smell was so amazing I did not even dare open my mouth, afraid my drool would overflow if I did. During those long 10 minutes, Nuonuo's eager questions came like rapid fire, all identical. "Daddy, is 10 minutes up yet?" she asked no less than 20 times, nearly giving me a headache. I scooped some pieces of pig trotters from the pot and placed them on a plate. The braised trotters had an amber hue, looking as tempting as if they were coated in a layer of thick honey. A glossy sheen slowly flowed over the amber base color. Nuonuo stared fixedly at the shiny trotter pieces on the plate, her drool quietly slipping out uncontrollably, dropping onto the floor with a pat. Seeing me turn to look at her, the little one was stunned for a second, then quickly lowered her head and slurped, trying to suck her drool back in. "You greedy little girl." I casually pulled out a tissue and leaned down to wipe Nuonuo's mouth. "Nuonuo, what do we have to do before eating?" Before my voice could even fade completely, Nuonuo dashed off like a little tornado. The words "wash hands" were left hanging in the air. Immediately after, another flurry of pitter-patter footsteps sounded. Nuonuo ran back in a hurry, climbed onto her chair and sat properly. "Daddy, can I eat now?" "Be careful, do not touch, it is very hot." Seeing my daughter looking like a hungry tiger pouncing on its prey, I found it both annoying and funny. Pig trotters have to be held in your hands and gnawed to feel right. I put gloves on Nuonuo, and I also picked up a small piece of trotter, blew on it to cool it down. and placed it into Nuonyuo's little bowl. It is about ready, hurry and taste it. At those words, Nuonyuo could not hold back any longer. She aimed at the trotter and started munching right away. Nuonyuo's eyes lit up, and she mumbled unclearly, "Daddy," while her eyes remained glued to the remaining trotters on the plate. How could I not understand what my little girl meant? Setting everything else aside, this little girl sure loved to eat. Before the divorce, when the old lady next door was brewing Chinese herbal medicine, Nuonyuo would press her face against their door crack, sucking her fingers, wanting to dip a taste. Eat slowly, do not choke. Daddy will put some on the side to cool down for you. Seeing Nuonyuo having such a great appetite made me even hungrier. I picked up a big piece and popped it straight into my mouth. Oh my god, with just one bite, biting through the thick and bouncy outer layer. It was perfectly chewy, soft, and full of collagen. Right after, the meat juice overflowed, and the flavor exploded. Delicious, too delicious. I was completely immersed in this delicacy. Such a tasty pig trotter. It would be a true pity to just swallow it down hastily. Right now, I only wanted to let the deliciousness linger on my tongue for as long as possible. I chewed carefully. The tendons yielded under the pressure of my teeth, sometimes tense, sometimes relaxing. I swear, this was absolutely the best pig trotter I had ever eaten in my life. And to think, this bite of braised pig trotter was a rushed product stewed for less than 2 hours. It was not even the trotter's ultimate state. If it simmered for another few hours, would not it be so good I would want to swallow my own tongue? Before long, the trotters on the plate visibly dwindled. But just as I reached for the very last piece, a crisp crying sound suddenly shattered the beautiful moment. What? Daddy, you keep saying you love me, but you are stealing my pig trotters. Nuonyuo's pitiful voice instantly gripped my heart. My arm froze mid-air. I looked at my little baby in front of me, her mouth entirely covered in grease, her shoulders shaking as she sobbed, with 2 crystal-clear teardrops hanging on her cheeks. Do not cry, there is still more in the pot. I took off my gloves, wiped the little girl's tears, and hurriedly went back to scoop more trotters from the pot. This time, I emptied the whole pot. I did not believe it still would not be enough for this girl. The moment it was served on the table, Nuonyuo smiled. Her happiness had returned. It was not until her little belly was perfectly round and bulging that Nuonyuo finally let go. She chewed desperately, stuffing her little mouth full. A few minutes later, Daddy, is it all gone? Looking at the completely empty plate, Nuonyuo widened her big eyes and spread her hands. Yeah, it is gone. I spread my hands too. I had originally planned for me to eat 2 trotters and for Nuonyuo to have own. I never expected this little tyke to eat about own and a half by herself. And now she still was not satisfied. The very next second, I saw the little girl's big round eyes suddenly light up, her gaze instantly locking onto a leftover trotter bone. She quickly picked up the bone, popped it into her mouth, and began sucking on it vigorously. Cough, cough, my brows furrowed tightly together, and a fit of coughing almost left me breathless. Come on, kid, do we have to look this desperate? Someone who did not know better would think your dad could not even afford a few pig trotters for you. I pretended to be angry and said, little glutton, stop eating. Daddy will make it for you again next time. Hearing this, Nuonyuo smacked her lips, and then with great reluctance took that half-sucked bone and spat it out. Actually, she could not eat any more either. She just wanted to suck on the flavor a bit more. Fully fed and content, Nuonyuo looked at me with a face full of smiles. Daddy, tomorrow is the weekend, no kindergarten. Where are we going to play? Baby, we are not going out to play tomorrow. Daddy is taking you to set up a food stall. We have to work hard to make money, so we can buy Nuonyuo more delicious food and fun toys. I originally thought the little Own would be disappointed, but unexpectedly, Nuonyuo excitedly clapped her little hands. Hey Daddy, let us go out quickly, I promise I will be good. I thought it would just be an ordinary day setting up a stall, but an unexpected scene occurred. Nuonyuo, just play here by yourself for a bit, do not run off. Daddy needs to set up the stall and get busy, I will play with you later. Nuonyuo nodded obediently, her big eyes blinking brightly. Do not worry, Daddy, you can do it. I pulled out a brand new small whiteboard from the bottom of the food cart, picked up a marker, and wrote down a few large words, braised pig trotters, 68/Gene. The price was set by the system, so there was nothing I could do about it. The uncle selling Genbing next door saw me setting up to sell pig trotters this early in the morning, and a subtle smirk inevitably crept up the corners of his mouth. Young man's first time doing business, huh? Still a bit too green. Even though there were more and more young people setting up street stalls nowadays, you still had to do a little market research before selling anything. Early in the morning, the park was full of old folks coming for their morning exercises. Selling pig trotters something so greasy and heavy. How could there possibly be any business? What was even more outrageous was that he was selling them for 68 yuan a jean. Whoever bought that would be an absolute sucker. As the uncle muttered to himself in his head, he withdrew his disdainful gaze from my stall. By this time, I had already laid out the packaging boxes, plastic bags, and disposable gloves. The food cart was equipped with a stew pot. Those meticulously crafted braised pig trotters from last night, after absorbing the broth all night long, were now being kept warm. The moment I lifted the lid, the rich aroma of braised meat billowed up like a mushroom cloud, instantly rising into the air. Anyone who had ever eaten it would instantly have their cravings triggered. Nuonyuo dropped the toy in her hand and immediately pounced over. Daddy, I want to eat. A child is a child after all. At this moment, the gluttonous bug in her tummy was tumbling and roaring. She could not wait a single second. I smiled and scooped out a trotter chopped in half from the pot, placing it on a dining plate. Little glutton, you can only eat this much for now. Inside the park, a group of elders dressed in loose white Tai Chi uniforms, all looking spirited, were practicing Tai Chi with swords in hand. Their flowing garments made them look like descending immortals. After practicing for a while, Zhou Shuzhen felt a bit thirsty, so she slowly stepped out of the formation. Looking slightly tired, she sat on the grass, reached out to open her bag nearby, took out a thermos, tilted her head back, and took big gulps of water. The fried dough sticks and soy milk she had for breakfast seemed to have fully digested by now, and a faint pang of hunger echoed from her stomach. Right at that moment, a rich, intense fragrance seemed to waft over faintly. Zhou Shuzhen's drinking motion paused, her heart full of doubt. Where would the smell of pig trotters be coming from so early in the morning? She was fine before she smelled it, but upon doing so, her stomach actually rumbled a few times. That aroma was far more terrifying than she could have imagined. Without a word, it grabbed Zhou Shuzhen by the nose and dragged her straight toward the source of the scent. By the time she snapped out of it, she was already standing in front of my stall. Zhou Shuzhen gripped her thermos tightly, thinking to herself, an illusion, this must be an illusion. Otherwise, how did I walk over here without even realizing it? Watching me lift the lid and stir the pot, Zhou Shuzhen subconsciously swallowed her drool and began to observe. The food cart in front of her was brand new and looked quite impressive. The pots and pans were also gleaming brightly. The young man, however, was an unfamiliar face. For a lad of his age, his cooking skills, well, that was truly hard to say and remained to be seen. But the young man was quite handsome, and he had a little kid with him, who was just as cute as her own granddaughter. For the child's sake, it would not hurt to support his business a little. Zhou Shuzhen took a step forward, her eyes locked tightly onto the price on the whiteboard. Oh my, 68 yuan a jean, she cried out in surprise, rubbing her presbyopic eyes, thinking for a moment that she had misread it. What kind of family could afford to eat something this expensive? You have to know, with pig trotters, the bones make up a heavy portion, making it a very bad deal. However, just as she was calculating this in her mind, the aroma drifting from the pot drilled even more forcefully into her nasal cavity, stimulating her sense of smell. This smell was truly incredible. It would be a pity not to taste it, but then again, for something to smell this good, did it involve any artificial additives or chemical tricks? Thinking of this, Zhou Shuzhen forcibly pivoted her feet to turn away. But just as she turned sideways, her gaze happened to land on the little toddler sitting on the stool. The little girl had a greedy look on her face, gnawing fiercely at the pig trotter like a hungry wolf. The sound of her munching and her expression of utter satisfaction acted as a magical summon, causing Zhou Shuzhen's resolve to waver. Sigh, the stall owner's own kid is eating it. Surely he would not poison his own child, right? Even if it does have some additives, it probably is not too bad. I am already at this age. Who cares whether it is healthy or expensive anymore? I have penny pinched my whole life. And did not I just end up a poor old lady anyway? So she spoke up. Handsome young man, selling it this expensive? Are you out of your mind? Can you make it a bit cheaper? Hearing this, I flashed a helpless smile and shook my head. I can't do that, madam. This is already the lowest price. The quality of my pig trotters is top tier, and the costs are high. Zhou Shuzhen ultimately could not resist the aroma. She gritted her teeth and said, fine. Then give me a whole own to try. My heart leaped with joy. I had been waiting for this exact moment. I hurriedly put on my gloves, scooped out 2 amber-colored halves of braised trotters from the pot, and placed them on the scale to weigh them. Alright, that is $70. Zhou Shuzhen clicked her tongue inwardly. So expensive. Just this little bit of pig trotter cost $70. She could buy 2 free-range chickens with that. But whatever, never mind, he already put it in the box. What if it was actually worth the price? Young man, add some extra braising broth. And put it in a separate plastic bag for me. I want both chopped scallions and cilantro. Oh, right, and give me a few extra pairs of gloves. Since it was so expensive, she had to get more free condiments to not feel ripped off. Taking the pig trotters, Zhou Shuzhen flipped open the packaging box as she walked. Hiss, it was quite hot, considering it was fresh out of the pot. But as the fragrance hit her face, how could she care about the heat? She put on the gloves, grabbed the bright, reddish trotter, and impatiently took a bite. Zhou Shuzhen was burned so badly she opened her mouth to blow air wildly. And only after several huffs did she dare to actually chew it. With just one bite, a gleam of light actually burst from her cloudy, presbyopic eyes. The delicate, soft meat spread in her mouth. It was not so overly mushy that it lost its texture, nor was it tough to chew. The savory umami of the broth was also perfectly balanced. Delicious, absolutely delicious. Zhou Shuzhen held the pig trotter, walking and eating with immense relish. But as she walked, she suddenly felt something was a bit off. It seemed like the gazes of everyone around her were collectively converging on her. Zhou Shuzhen straightened her spine and casually continued gnawing as if nothing had happened. At this moment, she had forgotten about the hefty price, completely immersed in the sheer enjoyment brought by this delicious pig trotter. $70, worth it, totally worth it. The task of selling 500 portions a week was now 1 per 500th complete. I was actually quite gratified. No matter what, I had taken the first step. Just then, Nuonuo walked over holding her empty plate. Daddy, I am done eating. I still want more. The little one looked at me eagerly, a trace of braising broth still hanging on the corner of her mouth. I furrowed my brow slightly and gently refused. No can do. We agreed you would only eat that half. Nuonuo rolled her eyes playfully and spoke up again with a quirky attitude. Then can I eat some crackers and dip them in a little bit of the sauce? I chuckled and pointed at her tummy. You can't eat any more right now. Look, it is still bulging right here. Nuonuo followed my hand, looking down at her round, plump little belly, and somewhat reluctantly pouted her small lips. But knowing that Daddy was doing this for her own good, she obediently stopped pestering me. Father and daughter sat quietly on the small stools, immersed in the world of cartoons. Nuonuo snuggled in my arms, her eyes sparkling as she stared at the screen, an innocent smile radiating from her face. Right then, a figure blocked my view. It turned out to be the old lady from just now. Young man, give me another large portion of pig trotters. Hearing this, I was slightly stunned. Hey, a repeat customer so quickly. I hurriedly picked out the 2 largest trotters from the pot and swiftly placed them on the scale. $100. Without a single word, Zhou Shuzhen paid and picked up the trotters. Her speed was like night and day compared to her previous dawdling. Her eyes were dead set on my movements as I packed the trotters. I got the hint perfectly. Without her needing to say a word, I packed her an extra bag of broth just like before, and added plenty of cilantro and scallions. Looking at the bag fully stuffed with trotters and garnishes, Zhou Shuzhen nodded in satisfaction. At the same time, the other nearby stall owners had been shouting themselves hoarse to make sales. When they heard the crisp notification sound from my side broadcasting, Alipay received 100 yuan, they all unanimously turned their heads and secretly gasped in shock. To be honest, setting up a stall at the park entrance, there really were not many customers on a regular day. So when they first saw a new face like me show up, they did not pay much attention. But they never expected I would make $100 in a single sale. Goodness, that is just out of line. You have to realize, the income from this single order was equal to 10 jianbing or more than 30 grilled sausages. This new young brother sure was ruthless. A few minutes later, a male cyclist appeared at the end of the road. He raised his hand, took off his helmet, and used a towel to wipe his sweat-soaked hair. After downing a bottle of electrolyte water and half a banana, a gentle breeze swept past just then, bringing a hint of coolness. Immediately following it, an intensely rich smell of braised meat domineeringly forced its way into his nasal cavity. Soon, the man arrived right in front of my stall. The man's Adam's apple bobbed up and down violently. Then his gaze shifted, landing on the small board that read, Pig Trotters, 68/Gene. He was instantly shocked. My God, so expensive. Is not that a bit too exaggerated? They say curiosity killed the cat, but it is actually the same for humans. A surge of rebellious defiance instantly rose in the man's heart. Then I really have to taste this and see what gives you the right to sell it so expensive. Boss, give me own to try. Sure, wait a moment. Seeing the man in front of me, I hurriedly stood up and expertly picked out a trotter. The man took the trotter, quickly walked over to a small stool on the side and sat down. Putting on the gloves, he eagerly took a massive bite. Crunch, squish. With a forceful pull, the soft, sticky tendon stretched out, quivering slightly in his mouth along with a mouthful of collagen. Following that was the mellow, rich aroma of meat spreading wildly. In a flash, his entire body froze in place. The man's eyes widened drastically. My God, does food this delicious actually exist in real life? Even though he knew the taste would not be bad, when he first smelled the aroma, actually getting it in his mouth still inevitably blew his mind. He had tasted plenty of delicacies along his cycling routes, but the pig trotter in his hand made every single delicacy he had ever eaten pale in comparison. Something this incredibly delicious had to be shared with his bros. Thinking of this, the man quickly took off own glove and unlocked his phone. Guess what I found at Xingming Park today? Very soon, fellow cyclists popped up. Hey, that area is pretty out of the way. What could you possibly run into? Do not tell me you ran into a giant panda, huh? I am at the park entrance, and I found a super delicious pig trotter stall. The taste is absolutely unreal. It would be a massive pity not to try it. Oh come on bro, is that it? It is just a pig trotter. Is there a need to overreact? Was the spicy bullfrog we had at our last get-together not top tier enough? Alright, show's over, everybody go home to your mamas. We wasted our excitement here for nothing. We are busy cycling, and we still took the time to reply to you. Use your brain next time. The man was furious. Smack, he slammed down the trotter bone he had sucked nearly polished, and yelled at the top of his lungs toward me. Boss, give me 2 more portions to go. After shouting, he lowered his head, his fingers flying across the screen to type. Give me an hour or 2 of riding and I will regroup with the main squad. You guys just wait and be ready to properly apologize to me. 2 more portions coming up. In a short time, another few $100 hit my account. This made the neighboring stall owners incredibly jealous. Not only were their eyes green with envy, but their mouths were watering too. The middle-aged man selling grilled sausages nearby swallowed dryly. This braised aroma had been torturing him for hours. His endurance had practically reached its limit. Finally, he gritted his teeth, abandoned his grilled sausage stand, and pushed through the pain of spending money to walk over to my stall. After buying a pig trotter, he took a bite, and the rich, flavorful juices instantly burst in his mouth. So savory, his eyes lit up as he ate, and the tip of his tongue trembled with pure pleasure. So this is what ultimate satisfaction feels like. No wonder the guy is raking in cash. If he could pair this with a little booze, would not he ascend straight to heaven? Finally, he did the math. Oh crap, he was actually down $50 today, and had not sold a single ounce of his starch sausages. He could only hope his wife would go easy on him when he got home tonight. Daddy, you are amazing, you sold so many pig trotters in just one morning. Nuonyuo's eyes were sparkling, filled with pure adoration for her daddy. After the praise, the little girl rubbed her own small tummy, and revealed her true motive. Daddy, I am hungry. Can I eat a pig trotter now? Looking at those eager, expectant little eyes, my heart completely melted, and naturally, I nodded gently. Nuonyuo was overjoyed. She instantly flew over into my arms, and planted a big, loud kiss right on my cheek. After eating and drinking my fill, I found a megaphone in the food cart. It was time to do some hawking. I pressed a button, ready to start recording, but Nuonyuo skipped over, her little face full of excitement. Daddy, I want to record with you too. Sure, then listen closely, repeat after me, line by line. Delicious pig trotters, step right up, do not miss out. Wow, yummy, fragrant pig trotters. Step right up, please do not miss out. Nuonyuo repeated in her milky, childish voice. Even making a slight modification to my pitch, her voice was tender and adorable, as pleasing to the ear as a silver bell. While my voice was steady and magnetic, carrying a unique texture, the father and daughter voices intertwined, carrying an innate brainwashing and magical charm. Just hearing it made people want to stop and get closer. Meanwhile, as the male cyclist neared the end of Route 77, a few of his cycling buddies were already waiting there to regroup. Jiangzi, you are here. A shout came from ahead. Hearing the voice, the man looked over and saw someone waving excitedly at him. His eyes lit up, he pushed down hard on the pedals. The wheels spun rapidly, and he sped over like a blur. In the blink of an eye, he came to a steady stop. You guys are pretty fast. At that exact moment, whether they were drinking water or looking down at their phones, the cyclists all raised their heads in perfect unison. Their noses twitched slightly as they sniffed the air. Bro, you smell amazing. Xiangzi rolled his eyes at him and laughed. Get away from me, did you take the wrong meds today or what? It really does smell amazing. As soon as another cyclist spoke, everyone quickly parked their bikes and surrounded Xiangzi. Stop dawdling, hand it over quickly. Did not you say you were going to blow our minds? Xiangzi's expression froze, groaning inwardly. If he had known he would be hungry by the time he rode here, he would not have bragged earlier. Is it too late to take it back now? Bros, it is not that I do not want to give it to you. It is just that I am hungry now too. Thinking of the delicious pig trotters, Xiangzi frowned, looking utterly helpless as he reached for his small bag on his bike. Before Xiangzi could finish his sentence, his bag was ruthlessly snatched away by one of the cyclists. The moment the bag was opened, the cyclist screams scared off a flock of sparrows. Smells so good. When they popped the lid, it was even crazier. The few of them hurriedly tore off the plastic seal, and the aroma of the pig trotters burst through, spreading rapidly. Wow, holy crap, it smells even better now. Xiangzi rolled his eyes in annoyance and started scolding them. Look at you all acting so desperate, drooling all over the place. Alright, there are only 2 portions of pig trotters here. Consider that portion my treat to you guys. By the way, let me tell you, that portion is not cheap, 98 bucks. After saying that, he raised an eyebrow, intentionally emphasizing his tone. At this, all the brothers jumped up. 98 bucks a portion. These guys were all broke. Usually, when they got thirsty while riding outside, they could only bear to buy a $1 soda. My god, Xiangzi, you actually spent that much on us. You used all your wooing tactics on your bros. Nonsense, he is clearly Daddy Chong now. This father-son bond is so moving it belongs in a textbook. So generous, we kids are eating well today. Godfather Chong above, please accept a bow from your sons. Spending 98 bucks might not win the heart of a goddess, but it will definitely make a group of bros call you daddy. Everyone's gaze fell back onto the box of pig trotters. There were only 2 trotter halves lying in the box. Too many wolves, not enough meat. How could this be enough to split among the team? So, acting like a bunch of crabs, after a frenzy of tearing and grabbing, each person held a piece of pig trotter no bigger than a lighter. With just a small taste, their pupils dilated instantly. Tears of sheer excitement nearly welled up in their eyes. Xiangzi recalled seeing the stall owner's daughter earlier, gnawing on it so hard she almost swallowed her own fingers. At first, he thought she was a planted actor. Thank goodness he was smart enough to buy a piece to try, otherwise he really would have missed out. At this moment, a female cyclist standing on the side approached Xiangzi, softly begging for a piece of the pig trotter. The trotter was glossy and shiny, and its rich braised flavor mesmerized her. Just as she was about to take a bite, suddenly, a chaotic clamor erupted, followed closely by intense, ferocious barking. They saw dozens of dogs, big and small, charging out like a tornado. They were all skinny with messy fur, but their eyes gleamed with hunger and greed. They all bolted toward the source of the aroma. Before Xiangzi could react, the plastic box in his hand was knocked to the ground. The stray dogs were overjoyed, pouncing like starving tigers to snatch the last bit of pig trotter inside. If it were not for the sake of being a gentleman, he would not have shared a piece with his female teammate just now. But now, his heart was truly bleeding. By the time the other cyclists rushed over, the pack of stray dogs had long fled. The cyclists, craving more, all stared intently at Xiangzi. Bro Chong, let us head out to that pig trotter stall right now. If we are late, it might all be sold out. After saying that, the group immediately hit the road. Meanwhile, I naturally had no idea that the braised pig trotters I made had actually stirred up a chaotic storm in the wasteland at the end of Route 77. Oh my, young man, hurry and pack me 2 portions of pig trotters. Zhou Shuzhen's voice echoed from afar as she made a beeline for my stall. Suddenly, someone called out to her from behind. It was a few older ladies about her age. They were wearing uniform outfits. As they arrived at my stall, Zhou Shuzhen was muttering, "My daughter-in-law ate the pig trotter this young man sells, and absolutely loved it. She could not eat anything else, specifically asking for this pig trotter." The older ladies all opened their mouths in surprise. I mean, it smells good, but how good can street food really be? Yeah, and the price is so expensive. Zhou Shuzhen, holding her 2 boxes of trotters, looked fully convinced. Of course it is delicious. The money is absolutely worth it. If you think it is expensive, just buy less of those useless things. And you will save enough money for this. As soon as she said this, the old sisters immediately looked at each other in dismay. They were all veterans of life, knowing exactly how to say things that strike the heart. Old Joe, do not exaggerate so much, but buying a piece to try is not entirely out of the question. I want to see for myself if it is really that good. Look, that stall owner must be rolling in dough. He actually hired the park's top senior idol group to advertise for him. Could it be a new stall organized by the park management? Meanwhile, I had no idea that I was inadvertently showing off. I was just happily packing up the delicious pig trotters for everyone. After the crowd left carrying their fragrant trotters, Nuonuo skipped over to me. She held out her chubby little hand, using her tender pink fingers to hold up a 3. Daddy, I am hungry. I want to eat 3 pig trotters. This little girl sure talked a big game. With a stomach that small, could she even fit that much? The smug could not help but lean down and pinched her soft, chubby cheeks. No can do. You have to subtract 2. Hearing this, the little girl immediately pouted her lips, looking like a wronged little steamed bun. Hey, subtract 2. That makes 5. Nuonuo put her hands on her hips and righteously spread her fingers. I was once again amused to the point of laughing out loud. Wrong, wrong, calculate it carefully again. Hearing this, Nuonuo was not happy. She stubbornly tilted her head up. Daddy, it is 5. I knew my daughter was doing it on purpose. I shook my head and teased. All right, my little math genius. When you grow up, you can go rewrite the math textbooks. But here with Daddy, you only get own. As a pig trotter was placed on the table, the little girl's eyes gleamed brightly. Holding it with both hands, she started gnawing with great relish. Daddy, it is really so yummy. Not long after, the sharp and urgent sound of mountain bike brakes suddenly rang out. Looking up, I saw a cycling team arriving like a whirlwind. We are here, this is the place. Xiangzi panted heavily, wiping the sweat from his forehead with his hand. Riding all the way here had thoroughly exhausted them. For the sake of this delicious bite, the group had exceeded their usual speed, sprinting wildly the whole way. Right now, their legs were trembling slightly, their muscles incredibly sore, yet their eyes were full of longing. Boss, are there any pig trotters left? Wei own for each of us. Xiangzi spoke up impatiently, his voice carrying a hint of hoarseness. The others also nodded in agreement. Sure, please wait a moment, have a seat first, I said with a smile. Up to this point, although I had sold quite a few portions here and there, I was still a bit short of my calculated goal of 70 portions a day. But looking at this turnout, it should not be a problem anymore. I lifted the lid, and the aroma of braised pig trotters swept out once again. Even though the cycling team members were physically exhausted, their eyes were locked dead onto my movements of scooping the trotters. Unwilling to look away for even a second, the braised steam rose and slowly dispersed. Compared to the cool trotters from earlier, these freshly scooped ones were soaked in a glossy, radiant sheen. The cyclists' gulping sounds were surprisingly synchronized. Their gazes were so full of thirst and greed. The cyclists who received their food first immediately buried their heads and started devouring it with nom-nom sounds. The hot trotters were even softer and stickier. With a gentle bite, the collagen practically melted right in the mouth. Boss, we are out of napkins, could we get some more? Boss, bring us some more gloves too. As their eating became more and more savage, people kept shouting out to me from time to time. No problem, just a moment. I was still weighing trotters for the customers behind them. My hands were moving so fast they were practically a blur. I wished I had 3 heads and 6 arms. Daddy, let me take it to them. Nuonuo, beside me, lifted her little face from her intense eating session. Seeing her busy daddy, she wanted to help shoulder a bit of the pressure. Plus, this little task was well within her abilities. Amidst my busyness, I glanced at Nuonuo and did not refuse. Just looking at the braising sauce smeared all over her mouth, I smiled helplessly. You silly girl, your own little face is dirty. Wipe it quickly. Nuonuo obediently wiped her face, then skipped over to grab the napkins and walked toward the crowd. Miss, here are the napkins you asked for. Nuonuo's tiny figure stood there, holding the napkins with both hands and politely handing them over. Having been entirely focused on the pig trotters just now, the girl only now noticed this doll-like little girl standing in front of her. What an adorable little girl. Hearing the praise, Nuonuo's eyes curved into little crescent moons. Miss, you are very pretty too. The girl was so amused by Nuonuo's mutual compliment that she burst into laughter. She could not help but reach out and gently pat Nuonuo's little head. You have got such a sweet mouth. You really are a little angel. Actually, truth be told, she was not someone who liked children. Most kids were mischievous, unreasonable, crying and screaming at the drop of a hat, wreaking havoc everywhere. But Nuonuo gave her a completely different feeling. Not only was she well-behaved and sensible, but she already knew how to care for others at such a young age. She really became more and more lovable the longer you looked at her. Is not the government encouraging people to have kids? This must be the dream child everyone has in mind. Seeing the big sister smiling at her, Nuonuo tilted her head and smiled even more brightly. Then she turned around and skipped off to grab the next item. Mister, here are the gloves you wanted. A tall, skinny, dark-skinned male cyclist instantly widened his eyes. He looked at his female teammate, then at himself. Hey, little girl, how come you called her miss? But you call me mister, am I really that old? Nuonuo blinked her eyes, looking completely innocent, and said nothing more. The man felt somewhat unwilling to accept it. He struck what he thought was a very cool pose, trying to find a graceful way out. Little girl, tell me, am I the most handsome on here? Just nodding your head is fine. The female teammate beside him saw him acting like this, and could not help laughing, teasing him. Give it a rest, you are so shameless. Did not you see how handsome her daddy is? It would be a miracle if she praised you. As soon as this was said, pairs of eyes simultaneously locked onto me. The boss is handsome, has a beautifully sculpted doll of a daughter, and makes out of this world pig trotters. He is basically a winner in life. To be honest, they could not quite understand it either. With a boss's skills, he should not just be running a street stall. He should at least be a master chef at a 5-star hotel. Could it be some celebrity here to experience the commoner's life? As night quietly descended, the clock pointed to 9 of the clock. I began to pack up the stall, getting ready to close for the day. Business was surprisingly good today. All 70 pig trotters were sold out, especially the cycling team that came later after eating. They packed up huge amounts to go. Boss, what time do you open tomorrow? Boss, the meat is sold out, but why do not you put a price on this braising sauce? Seeing me packing up, a few customers who had just finished their night run hurriedly asked. Tomorrow's opening time depends on the situation. I really can't sell the braising sauce. Everyone head on home for now. I waved my hand helplessly. Based on the current trend, I would definitely have to braise a lot more pig trotters tonight. I calculated it. Today I made a total of $6,585. This money could go straight into my own pocket. I did not have to hand it over to the system. Excluding labor costs, it was practically a zero-cost business, pure profit. After all, the economy was not great right now. Working a regular job, exhausting yourself like a beast of burden, you might only earn $5,000 or $6,000 a month. But setting up a stall for own day had already equaled a month's salary. Congratulations to the host for completing the first day of setting up the stall. Random reward, God-tier braised pig trotter seasonings. Spicy flavor, sweet and spicy flavor, rattan pepper flavor. There was actually a random reward. 3 different flavors of braising seasonings. This was truly an unexpected delight. I had just been wondering if people would get tired of this traditional braised flavor after a while. I never expected the system's reward to come at such a perfect time. On the way home, the little girl was incredibly excited, showing no signs of sleepiness whatsoever. She kept praising me non-stop about how amazing her daddy was today, selling so many pig trotters. The emotional value was maxed out, truly a daddy's sweet little angel. After getting home, I looked at her and asked softly, Nuonuo, how did you like setting up the stall today? Nuonuo rested her little head on the pillow, blinking her big eyes. I'm so happy. Setting up a stall with daddy is super fun. And daddy is so amazing. You sold so many pig trotters today. If my classmates knew, they would definitely be jealous that I have such an awesome daddy. As she spoke, a look of immense pride appeared on her little face. The system rewarded me with new flavors. I could not wait to head to the kitchen and summon 100 pig trotters, which was quite a bit more than yesterday's 70. I added the seasonings and started simmering them over a low fire. If I did not let them stew overnight, the heat would not be enough by morning. Sorry, everyone, you guys might not get a good night's sleep tonight either. My God, it smells too good. Which idiot is cooking late at night? Which household is that coming from? Pulling this kind of stunt in the middle of the night. Have they no public decency? Before long, more and more people were jolted awake from their dreams. Little kids were crying their eyes out from the craving, while parents coaxed them while slurping back their own drool. Even Auntie Wang's dog next door barked the entire night. only a hair away from breaking off its leash to hunt down the source of the aroma. However, Nuonuo and I slept incredibly soundly, completely oblivious to the commotion outside. By a little past 9:00 a.m., the sun was already high in the sky. Nuonuo, who had already changed her own clothes, hugged my arm and shook it back and forth. "Daddy, you big lazy bug, wake up." Seeing me roll over and bury my head under the pillow to keep sleeping, the little rascal was not having it. She reached out her chubby little hand, and, mimicking what I usually did, pinched my cheek. "You little troublemaker," I felt a pinch of pain, opened my eyes, and muttered helplessly. The next second, I affectionately rubbed Nuonuo's forehead. "What a good girl, you actually woke up earlier than Daddy today." After washing up, I lifted the pot lids full of anticipation. Instantly, a mist of steam and aroma rushed at my face. I brought out 4 small pots, placing 25 pig trotters into each. They corresponded respectively to the 4 flavors: original, spicy, sweet and spicy, and rattan pepper. The original flavor did not need much attention. I just poured the meat and broth straight into the pot to continue simmering. The seasoning packets for the spicy and rattan pepper flavors were already prepared by the system. "Daddy, are we not going to set up the stall today?" Nuonuo picked up a small toy, looking a bit disappointed. "We are going, but a little later. I figured we would head over after the little Own took her afternoon nap. Anyway, there were not many people around during the day. The sun was too harsh, so hardly anyone wanted to come out. Besides, no matter how busy I was, I had to make time for my kid. As a stay-at-home dad, I still really cherished our parent-child time. By the time we arrived at Xingming Park again, it was already 2:00 p.m. At the park entrance, the security grandpa was sitting bored out of his mind in his booth. Suddenly, his eyes lit up, catching sight of the brand-new food cart approaching from afar. The grandpa acted as if he would been injected with chicken blood. He whipped out his walkie-talkie with lightning speed. He is here. The pig trotters are here. Are you in the North Zone? Hurry up and notify little Lou. That kid has asked me 800 times today." After saying this, the grandpa swiftly slammed down the walkie-talkie, quickly pulled out his phone, and his fingers flew across the keypad to dial a number. The moment the call connected, before the grandpa could even speak, the person on the other end, as if fully prepared, frantically responded within seconds. "Oh." That level of intensity looked like a special agent receiving a top-secret mission. Having accomplished all this, the grandpa stared intently at the approaching food cart, and took a leisurely sip of tea. Truly worthy of his reputation, he had instantly completed a glorious mission. Over here, the stall spots were almost completely full. I buzzed around like a headless fly for ages, before finally managing to park my cart in an inconspicuous corner. To my surprise, there were actually quite a few people waiting for me at the spot where I set up yesterday. As soon as my cart came to a steady stop, a few customers immediately swarmed over. "Boss, you are finally here. You had us worried sick. We thought you were not coming. I already bought the beer. I'm just waiting for your pig trotters to go with it. Boss, give me 2 portions. I want my wife to try them. My dog ate your pig bones yesterday, and now if I give it any other food, it does not even look at it. It is actually getting picky." I really did not expect everyone to be so enthusiastic. I wiped the fine sweat from my forehead and spoke up. "Everyone, please wait a moment. Take it easy. Do not rush. Let me bring out the tables and stools first." A few strong, burly young men instantly crowded around. "Boss, let us help you set up. Just sell us the pig trotters a bit earlier later." The stew pot inside was divided into 4 compartments by me, just like a 4-grid hot pot. Each compartment corresponded to a different flavor. As I lifted the pot lid, a mellow, rich aroma drifted out, its domineering presence drilling into everyone's nostrils. The few customers gathered in front of the stall instantly showed a trace of astonishment in their eyes. Someone with a sharp nose immediately picked up on the secret, and shouted excitedly, "Boss, you have got new flavors now, have not you?" I smiled. "That is right. We have original, spicy, sweet and spicy, and rattan pepper. The original flavor is the Own you had yesterday. The price is the same, $68 a jean." After saying that, I called Nuonuo to bring over the small whiteboard. The original price tag was clearly visible, and I had written down all the different flavors. On top of that, there were a few more drawings, meticulously painted on by Nuonuo using watercolors. Original, spicy, sweet and spicy, and rattan pepper corresponded respectively to a pig trotter, a ball of blazing fire, a heart and a bunch of small green berries. The whole price board was full of childish charm, making people smile at the sight of it. "Boss, I want a sweet and spicy Own. I can wait." Then I will take own original and own spicy. While answering the customer's questions, my hands did not stop moving for a second. I wished I could grow a few extra pairs of hands to handle this booming business. 10 minutes later, I could finally take a breather. Daddy, I want to eat too. The obedient Nuonyuo had waited until I was done being busy before she trotted over to say she wanted to eat too. Alright, Daddy will squeeze you a glass of juice too. Perfect timing for afternoon tea. The little Own had eaten very little for lunch, so she should be hungry by now. But Nuonyuo was still young and could not eat too much spice, as it could easily upset her stomach. Unexpectedly, the moment I turned around, a hearty shout pierced everyone's eardrums. Young man, you are finally here. Give me 2 portions of pig trotters, I want the biggest ones. From far away, Zhou Shuzhen was practically flying over. Some stall owners nearby who had not made any sales yet heard the commotion, and cast envious glances, their teeth aching with jealousy. Whoa, customers were literally rushing to throw money at him. Zhou Shuzhen had shown up precisely at 7 o'clock this morning. At the park entrance, it was not to practice Tai Chi sword. She was entirely there waiting for me to set up my stall. Yesterday afternoon, after her daughter-in-law ate a portion of the trotters, she could not stop praising them. Seeing a regular customer arrive at the stall, I immediately started introducing. Today, aside from the original, we also have spicy, sweet and spicy, and rattan pepper flavors. Which 2 do you want? Zhou Shuzhen was stunned. There are new flavors. Then give me original and rattan pepper. Both she and her daughter-in-law loved the rattan pepper flavor, since yesterday's braised flavor was already so delicious. The rattan pepper owned surely would not be bad either. Zhou Shuzhen paid the money and asked what time I was coming tomorrow. Getting a depends on fate answer, she had no choice but to grab her bags and head back. After all, when someone sells pig trotters this good, being a little eccentric was totally normal. Right now, Nuonyuo was holding a sweet and spicy trotter with both hands, eating with immense relish. She ate so fast that a sticky circle of sweet and spicy sauce smeared all around her little mouth, making her look exactly like an adorable little painted cat. Since I had a free moment, I quickly grabbed a wet wipe and wiped her mouth. Hey, Nuonyuo, eat slower. But this little rascal had not even finished chewing the food in her mouth, when her eyes were already locked onto the trotter in her hand again. She brought it to her mouth, ready to take another bite. I shook my head helplessly, hurriedly picking up a glass of juice and handing it to Nuonyuo. No rush, nobody is fighting you for it. Nuonyuo took a sip, her little face brimming with pure satisfaction. Daddy, this sweet and spicy trotter is so yummy. It is 10,000 times better than McDonald's fried chicken. I was quite confident in this flavor. The spiciness in it was perfectly neutralized by the sweetness, creating a deliciously sweet and sour taste on the palate. Even for a young child, it was very suitable to eat. Even if you love it, you still have to eat slowly. Saying this, I lovingly stroked Nuonyuo's forehead, my face full of adoration. Just then I heard 2 urgent shouts. Daddy, go to your work. Nuonyuo flashed me a sweet smile. I put the 2 pig trotters on the scale. Own was 75, the other 90. The 2 old grandpas were instantly shocked, unable to stop themselves from gasping. Wait, what is this trotter made of? Is the skin made of gold? Or are the bones made of gold? Why is it so expensive? Old Wang could not help but fan himself with his folding fan. To ease the awkwardness, Old Li glanced at him and instantly curled his lip, knowing his old buddy was feeling stingy. What is the point of having such a high pension? Look at how petty you are being. Learn from me, your big bro. Immediately after, he tremblingly picked up his phone and opened Alipay. After Old Li paid, he did not say a word, but simply looked quietly at his old pal. Old Wang, of course, understood exactly what he meant, and instantly blew his beard and glared at him. If you are not petty, why did not you pay for the 90-buck own? But smelling the aroma of the pig trotters, he could not hold back anymore either. Without hesitating much longer, he pulled out his phone and paid. Soon, the 2 old men walked over to the stools. As soon as he sat down, Old Li impatiently took a bite. Instantly, the rich flavors burst in his mouth. The meat was soft, tender, and smooth, fatty but not greasy. He felt a jolt go through his whole body, and his cloudy eyes even grew slightly moist. An indescribable surge of emotion instantly swelled in his heart. In his life, he had eaten donkey meat, he had tasted snake meat, but he had never eaten a trotter this fragrant. How did the saying go again? This trotter should only exist in heaven. How rare it is to find it in the mortal realm. Turns out, what he had been eating before was just literal pig slop. To think he had lived all these years, only to realize he would been living a dog's life. Old Wang turned slightly and spoke with a hint of disgust. Old Li, have you never eaten pork before? Why are you acting like such a monkey? Like a starving ghost reincarnated? No one's fighting you for it. This is exactly what happens when you have not seen the world. After saying that, he smiled slightly and raised an eyebrow. But the scene he imagined of old Li getting furious with him never actually happened. This old buddy was now surprisingly quiet, not making a single sound. He was just minding his own business, eating until his face was covered in grease. Finding it boring, old Wang did not bother anymore, opened his mouth, and took a bite of the trotter himself. Instantly, his eyes lit up. Well played, old Li, no wonder you ignored me while eating this. This was simply way too delicious. The portion old Li bought was slightly smaller, and since he started eating first, he quickly gnawed the whole trotter clean. He even sucked the bones dry. Then, he cast a mischievous look toward old Wang. Old Wang, you should not eat that much, it is bad for your health. Let me, your big bro, share some of that burden for you. As soon as he said this, old Wang quickly turned his back to guard his food. Get away from me, I do not even have enough for myself. Before long, old Wang also finished his pig trotter. I am still not full. Let us just go buy more. The two men exchanged a look. If they did not buy at least 8 or 10 today, it absolutely would not be enough. As for the pension money, what was the point of not spending it? Were they saving it to hatch baby money? The two old men instantly reached a consensus, and quickly returned to my stall. Young man, the trotters taste great. Give me one of every flavor. Young man, I want the same, but my teeth are not so good. So make a few extra cuts on my trotters. The two old men scrambled over each other to speak. As long as it suits your taste. Looking at these two elderly men, they looked as satisfied as little kids, completely oblivious to the sauce smeared all over their faces. I quickly handed over a few napkins. Wipe your faces, I will pack them up for you. At that moment, a customer who had just bought and finished eating came back. Boss, I am not that hungry, so just to humor myself, pack me 2 original ones. I will eat one now, eat 2 tonight, and one for late night snack. I do not have much of an appetite in the morning, so I will just eat one then. Boss, pack me 2 spicy trotters and 3 rotten pepper ones. People in the line had already started calculating their orders. At this moment, Zhou Shuzhen, under the shade of the trees, was chewing on the last piece of her original pig trotter, reluctant to swallow it. Hearing the people in line asking for several trotters at a time, her old face instantly scowled. What is wrong with these people? So young, yet eating so much. It is not like they are seniors, who actually need to supplement their collagen. Seeing more and more people continually walking toward my pig trotter stall, Zhou Shuzhen was incredibly anxious. Gripping her parasol tightly, she continuously pushed aside the people in front of her. Excuse me, please excuse me. Zhou Shuzhen maneuvered with the ferocity of a tiger, and finally managed to cut in line right in front of a few young girls. She smiled smugly. The speed she had built up from years of lining up for free eggs at the supermarket was definitely not just for show. Zhou Shuzhen grew increasingly eager for her turn to come quickly. 20 minutes later, while weighing orders, I glanced up at the line and called out loudly, "No need to line up at the back anymore, there are only 5 pig trotters left." Hearing the voice urging them to leave, aside from those who had just arrived, the rest of the people in line simply refused to give up. They had not even gotten to taste the trotters yet, how could they bear to leave? What if the people in front only wanted one each? Then would not there still be hope when it was their turn? For a moment, the line barely moved at all. Everyone held onto a sliver of false hope in their hearts. However, completely unexpectedly, the bald, burly man at the very front did not say a word and bought all 5 of them. As the tragic news spread, the customers in the back were completely shell-shocked. An animal? That guy is an absolute animal. Some people's faces turned pale, while others let out cries of agony. The crowd's gazes unanimously drilled into the burly man, their hearts full of resentment. Boss, are you sure there are none left? Boss, scoop around in the pot a bit more. See if there are any trotters that slipped through the net. Scoop around in every compartment. Listening to these words, I did not know whether to laugh or cry. Why do not you guys just come up here and scoop it yourselves? They are gone, truly all gone. We are closing the stall for today. Everyone, please come back tomorrow. After saying that, I swiftly turned off the heat on the stove. The crowd had no choice but to leave in helpless disappointment. Today, in just over 2 hours, I directly sold all 100 portions of pig trotters, making a total of $9,542. Daddy, you are really getting more and more amazing. You sold them even faster today than yesterday. Nuonuo wants to eat a lollipop. Looking at her acting all cute and spoiled. Smug. Sure you can, but you can only have own. If you eat too many, you will get cavities. Life these days is truly looking brighter and brighter. Nuonuo, time to wake up, we need to go to kindergarten, or we will be late. Hearing my voice, Nuonuo rubbed her sleepy eyes. Daddy, I do not want to go to kindergarten. I want to go set up the stall with you. The little On's mouth quivered, looking like she was about to cry. Be a good girl, Nuonuo, get up quickly. Daddy promises to come pick you up early. Kids always have a bit of separation anxiety. Honestly, how could I bear to part with her either? I had no choice but to coax the little girl over and over again. After dropping Nuonuo off at kindergarten, I did not go to set up the stall immediately. I waited until after lunch to leave the house. At 1:00 p.m. at Xingming Park, I drove the food cart over. And from afar, I saw a crowd of people already camping out there. Before the cart even came to a complete stop, the crowd swarmed it like a hive of bees. Everyone, please do not get too close. Watch out, safety first, I shouted at the top of my lungs. I was genuinely a little scared of these crazy customers, especially since there were quite a few elderly folks among them. If someone tripped or got hurt, it would be a disaster. Hey, make way for the young boss. Do not push, whoever pushes is a dog. Oh my god, my old arms and legs. Do not crush me, I am still waiting to eat my pig trotters. Getting off the cart, I quickly set up the tables and stools. But this time, not a single person came to help me. Everyone stuck tightly to the line, terrified that if they stepped away for even a second, someone would cut in front of them. Boss, are all the flavors available today? Seeing me place a batch of food boxes on the counter, the young man at the front of the line could not help but ask. They are all here, original, spicy, sweet and spicy, and rattan pepper. Not a single one is missing. And for the sweet and spicy ones, I already cooked them at home and kept them warm. They are ready to go, no waiting required. Oh, that is awesome. I absolutely could not get the sweet and spicy one yesterday. Today I am definitely going to eat my fill. There were quite a few people like this young man at the scene. I used to think sweet and spicy would definitely taste weird. I did not expect the flavor to actually be so incredible. Sweet but not cloying, and the spiciness is just right. That feeling. Tell me about it, I am telling you. I bought 5 yesterday, and the 3 little monsters at home fought over them, all saying how delicious they were. I have to buy more today no matter what. Boss, you better set a purchase limit quickly. Otherwise, the people in front will buy them all, and we won't get to eat any. A heavyweight cutie waiting further back, worried they would sell out before her turn, spoke up. Hearing this, the people behind her all nodded in agreement. Exactly, boss, set a limit. The young folks in front can eat so much. At least leave some opportunities for us. Alright, then the limit is 2 per person. I only had 100 pig trotters in total. If I limited it to 4, they would be gone in 25 people. I had no choice but to cut it in half again, so more people could get a taste. Hearing me say this, the crowd's expressions varied. Some were disappointed, some understanding, some helpless. After implementing the purchase limit, my business was actually even more booming than yesterday. The customers seemed to have their purchasing enthusiasm ignited even further. Some customers, in order to buy 2 extra trotters, even asked the nearby sanitation workers to help them line up. In just one short hour, all 100 pig trotters were completely sold out. It was still early, and kindergarten was not out yet. I did not plan on going home, but drove straight to the most famous toy mall in the South City. After a dazzling tour around, I finally ended up in a premium boutique at the end of the first floor, and spent $4,888 on a Princess Elsa doll. Although it was a bit pricey, it was expensive for a reason. Besides the basic blinking and outfit changes, this doll could engage in bilingual smart conversations, sing songs, and tell stories. It could basically satisfy all a little girl's needs. Imagining Nuonuo chatting happily with the doll, and playing role-play, the corners of my mouth could not help but curl up into a smile. At 4:30 p.m., the kindergarten entrance was a sea of people. The surroundings were packed with electric scooters and cars, led by their teachers. The kids, lined up at the gate, their little faces cheering and jumping for joy, like adorable little beasts released from their cages. Parents had to present their pickup cards to be able to take their precious babies home. Daddy, Nuonuo waved her little hands and rushed over, throwing herself right into my arms. I immediately picked her up and rubbed her little head. Were you a good girl at kindergarten today? Nuonuo proudly puffed out her little chest, pointed to the red sticker on her forehead, and shouted loudly, "I was super good today." Lu even rewarded me with a little red heart. Nuonuo is so amazing. My heart full of joy, I planted a big kiss on her soft, squishy cheek. Nuonuo turned her head back. "Goodbye, yes." Her chubby little hand waved at a young teacher. I also gave the person a faint smile as a greeting. The next day, I set up my stall as usual. Some regular customers who had eaten my pig trotters before, but did not have time to line up, called errand boys to come over. Rumor had it the tips were quite generous. Own errand boy, having finished lining up and holding 2 portions of pig trotters, could not help but take a deep breath. Smells so good, no wonder they hired an errand boy to buy this. He usually braved the wind and rain, rushing through every corner of the city, tired as a dog. At this moment, looking at the incredibly fragrant pig trotters in his hands, an inexplicable urge surged in his heart. Being this tired, treating himself a little was not too much to ask, right? Once the thought sprouted, it grew wildly in his heart like weeds. Yeah, just this once. Never again. Soon, the errand boy swallowed his saliva, picked up his phone, and canceled the order directly. "Hello, I will compensate you double for this order. I'm keeping these pig trotters," with a pioneer setting the example. A second delivery guy, bewitched by the aroma, also resolutely picked up his phone to cancel his order. More and more people with the same idea started following suit. "Sir, I am so sorry. Munch munch. Your pig trotters were accidentally snatched by a dog. I am really sorry, I have canceled this order for you. I will compensate your loss on my end." "Hello, your pig trotters gained self-awareness and ran away. I could not catch them, I have canceled the order for you here." So delicious. Inside the Nanlu police station of the Jiangzhou branch. Suddenly, the phone rang urgently. Operator Little Zhao quickly picked it up. "Hello, Jiangzhou branch Nanlu police station. How can I help you?" An anxious voice came from the other end. "Comrade officer, I want to report something. There is a snack stall selling pig trotters that are very abnormal. After eating them, I crave them every single day. It is like I am possessed, I can't eat anything else. Seeing the food safety propaganda today, I suspect there is dirty stuff in there." Little Zhao was startled. While calming the caller, he carefully asked for details and quickly took notes. "Where is this snack stall located? Besides craving it, do you have any other uncomfortable symptoms?" After hanging up, Little Zhao was burning with anxiety. He did not even bother knocking, and barged straight into the captain's office. At that moment, the captain was leisurely lifting his cup, ready to take a sip of tea to moisten his throat. Suddenly, the office door was slammed open with a bang. The captain was startled by the noise. His hand trembled, and scalding hot tea spilled onto his hand. He frowned tightly, his face full of displeasure as he scolded. "You reckless kid, why did not you knock?" Little Zhao had no time to explain and answered urgently. "Captain, a citizen reported that a snack stall's pig trotters have a problem. They suspect there is dirty stuff in it." The captain was stunned at first, then his eyes widened, and the cup in his hand almost dropped to the floor. What dirty stuff? Hurry up and notify the Food and Drug Investigation Brigade and the testing agency." Meanwhile, back at the pig trotter stall in the park, it was still a sea of people. "I have been lining up for so long, can't you make more? I was just a few minutes late. It is all because too many errand boys came today. They are completely disrupting the market, no ethics at all." Just then, the screech of sharp brakes broke the clamor, instantly attracting everyone's attention. A police car sped over, looking particularly conspicuous. 2 police officers stepped out of the car together. They looked stern and imposing, their epaulets reflecting the sunlight. The people in line were instantly stunned. Some started whispering, "What is going on? Why are the cops here? Oh no, is there a problem with these pig trotters? I hope nothing goes wrong. I have not even tasted these pig trotters yet. Look at the situation, and you are still thinking about eating. With a scene like this, are not you afraid of getting sick?" The customers suddenly fell into a commotion. The lead police officer walked toward the food cart with steady steps. "Are you the owner of this stall? We received a report from the public that the food you are selling is suspected of containing unknown additives. We need to conduct an inspection." Hearing this, the originally orderly line scattered in an uproar. Everyone was whispering and discussing. The customers who had already eaten my trotters looked worried. I was also full of shock and astonishment. Good heavens, who did I offend? Could it be that I was targeted by competitors? I swept a cold gaze around. Several nearby vendors, upon making eye contact with me, instantly restrained a bit of their schadenfreude. People are just like that. seeing someone else's business doing so well that there are lines, while their own stalls have no customers. They get so anxious they jump and fume with anger. Now seeing a rival get into trouble, they felt a secret thrill in their hearts. I retracted my gaze, silently stepped aside to make room. Officers, let me state up front, this is definitely a misunderstanding. Please go ahead. The officers nodded, and immediately began a comprehensive search of the stall. Fortunately, the system was considerate, and the source of the pig trotters was perfectly clear. After checking that, they put on gloves, and began carefully inspecting and sampling the trotters. Honestly, having lived for so many years, this was the first time they had seen pig trotters that were so soft and fell off the bone with barely any effort. Unscientific, completely unscientific. And the color was so bright. Normally, homemade braised pig trotters would never have such vibrant colors. Based on their sharp judgment and strong investigative experience, these trotters probably contained harmful additives, what those shady braised food shops often refer to as chemical wizardry and artificial additives. So black-hearted, how could such a handsome young man do something like this? The lead officer could not help but shoot me a sideways glare. Too bad I did not take the bait. I just sat calmly on the side playing on my phone. Because the stuff was provided by the system, there was absolutely no problem. After taking samples, they hurriedly lifted the lid to check the broth. The spicy aroma of 4 different flavors, wrapped in steam, rushed straight to their heads. Delicious, so delicious it would not be an exaggeration to call it miraculously fragrant. You really could not blame that enthusiastic citizen who reported it. Even the police officers, with willpower as firm as a rock, could not withstand the provocation of this aroma. What else was there to say? Years of testing experience had made his nose as sensitive as a police dog's. There was definitely flavor-enhancing paste in this. As for whether anything else was added, it was hard to say. As police officers, they really could not recklessly assume things about every citizen. Everything had to be objective, fair, and based on facts. As time passed, more and more onlookers gathered around my stall. Everyone had different attitudes. Some expressed their trust in me, some suggested severe punishment, and a small portion took a wait-and-see attitude. As time slipped by, the atmosphere underwent some subtle changes. A burly man with a large green dragon tattooed on his arm slapped his 2 boxes of pig trotters onto the table with a smack. He stood up, glaring angrily, and shouted, "The cops are here, how can anyone eat this stuff? Refund, give me a refund right now." A skinny guy next to him shuddered in fear, quickly swallowed the unchewed trotter in his mouth, and stuttered, "BB big bro, you want to refund it, then can I buy it off you? Kid, are you crazy? You're that desperate for a bite. What if they added meth to it, what will you do?" The tattooed man glared at the skinny beanpole, his face full of disappointment over his failure to meet expectations. Hearing this, the skinny guy's extended hand froze mid-air. But then, his eyes became resolute again. "Big bro, I just do not believe these trotters have any problems. For this taste, even if there is a risk, I will take it." Saying this, he resolutely paid the money, and snatched the 2 boxes of trotters for himself. The skinny guy glanced at the police officers in front of my stall. "Anyway, I paid for it. Eating a couple of bites won't get me locked up, right? Everyone quiet down before the test results come out. Wild guesses will only ruin the merchant's reputation, and even cause unnecessary panic. Please wait patiently." They took the cap off the rapid test kit, inserted the test strip into the sampled braising broth, and needed to let it sit for 15 minutes to see the result. Soon the result came out clean. A roar of cheers erupted from the crowd. Everyone's eyes reignited with a craving for the pig trotters. The action of eating trotters instantly switched from pause to play. Everyone opened their mouths wide and took massive bites, as if wanting to double down on the enjoyment that was interrupted just now. Meanwhile, the very few vendors who were hoping I would be taken away instantly had their expressions darken, the light in their eyes fading completely. However, the lead officer raised his hands and made a gesture for quiet. "Everyone, do not rush. The stall owner cannot sell today." Saying this, he turned his head to me and said, "Hello, the rapid test is only a preliminary screening, and its accuracy is relatively limited. We still need to routinely send the samples to the lab. We estimate the results will be out tomorrow morning." I nodded. Stuff produced by the system naturally had no problems, though it was quite troublesome to deal with all this. I believe the police comrades would definitely clear my name. Soon, the few officers exchanged glances, lifted the entire pot, and hauled it onto the police car. I was momentarily speechless. "Wait, did not you say you were just sampling for testing?" You are actually taking the whole pot to the lab. You took my equipment away. How am I supposed to set up my stall tomorrow? Captain Wang, there are absolutely no problems with the test results. All indicators are far below the standard limits. You could say it is exceptionally excellent. Captain Wang took the test report and glanced at it. This aroma is too ridiculous. It is definitely not normal. If there really are not any artificial chemical additives in here, then punish me by making me eat all 10 of these pig trotters. The other colleagues froze when they heard this. Damn it, they were too slow. As expected of the veteran captain, he was always the fastest to strike. After dropping Nuonyuo off at kindergarten, I came back and fell right back to sleep, because I had no idea if I could even set up my stall today. At that moment, a police car pulled into the neighborhood. Soon, a few police officers stepped out of the car. A few nosy neighbors who loved watching drama instantly felt their gossip radar pinging. Oh my, look at that. Are the cops heading to that new young man's house? Did he commit a crime or something? It is so scary. Is it murder, arson, or fraud? I did not expect our neighborhood to be so mixed and unsafe. Let me tell you, I was craving it so badly yesterday that I specifically went to Shingming Park to buy the young man's pig trotters. And guess what? As soon as I got off the bus, I saw a police car towing away several of his thermal pots. They said it contained some hard drugs. Although the auntie's voice was not loud, it was incredibly piercing. The whole crowd was instantly in an uproar. Oh gosh, that is terrifying. Thank goodness I did not eat his pig trotters. That darn young man looked so honest. Who knew he had such a black heart? Knock, knock, knock. The knocking on the door grew more urgent. Who is it? I rubbed my forehead and opened the door in my slippers. Standing in front of me were the police officers from yesterday. Each of them was sporting huge, dark bags under their eyes. It was obvious they had not slept well. I yawned and spoke first. What is wrong, comrade officers? Are the test results not clear enough? Do you need to test it again? The 3 officers stiffened up. No, you have misunderstood. There is absolutely no problem with the food you sell. We are here specifically to apologize to you. As soon as this was said, the many neighbors eavesdropping in the corners instantly deflated. So they were not here to arrest him after all. They had wanted to see what the rose gold bracelets looked like, and wasted their anticipation for nothing. Hearing that the officers were going to apologize to me, I remained quite calm. I scratched my head and replied very casually, "Alright, I got it." Saying that, I made a move to close the door. Just then, a rich, intense meat aroma wafted over. The 3 of them subconsciously stretched their necks, greedily sniffing the aroma in the air. Grumble. I could not tell whose stomach made the noise first. Immediately after, own officer swallowed hard. "Boss Sue, it smells so good." "Are you cooking pig trotters again?" I twitched my lips. "I was just waiting for you comrades to clear my name so I could go set up my stall. Otherwise, I would not still be sleeping at this hour." The officers nodded but did not leave, like a few greedy cats staring at the kitchen, wanting to leave but reluctant to go. How could I not understand what they wanted? However, I directly ignored their body language and added, "Officer comrades, if you have work, you should go get busy. I have to get busy in the kitchen too." After I spoke, the 3 officers stood frozen in place, visibly somewhat at a loss for what to do. Just as the door was about to close, Captain Wang, the leader, swiftly and decisively reached out to hold the door frame. "Boss Sue, please wait a moment. Given yesterday's situation, we also came here to ask when you will be setting up your stall. We plan to go to the scene and give the public a further explanation and clarification to publicly prove your innocence." Hearing this, I was stunned for a second, then smiled. That was great. It saved me the trouble of debunking rumors myself, so I gave them a time and closed the door again. The lead officer immediately glared fiercely at the other 2. "I repeatedly emphasized to you yesterday to watch your image. What were you doing just now? You looked like you wanted to shove your mouth straight into his pot? How unseemly." The other 2 officers also looked speechless. "Captain Wang, you really do have a short memory. We wonder who it was that ate 3 pig trotters all by himself yesterday." In the apartment building, the gossip still had not stopped. "By the way, that young man's pig trotters smell so good without any illicit additives. It is pretty uncanny. Should we go ask him for the recipe?" I returned to my room and set my eyes on the large thermal pot in front of me. This was the pot the officers had conveniently brought back when they came. Popping the latch open, I saw the inside was gleaming as if it had been washed clean. Inside the pot, there was also an envelope sealed in a plastic bag. What is this? The test report. Full of curiosity, I picked up the bag and slowly opened it. It was actually $800. These 3 officers were quite thoughtful. They did not mention it earlier. but quietly paid full price for all 10 of those pig trotters. I checked the system, and sure enough, the system had counted these orders toward my task quota. This was good. At least the food did not go to waste. 370 out of 500. I was now 130 portions short. With 3 days left, selling casually would be more than enough. I put the money away and carried the pot to the kitchen. Even though the inside of the pot was so shiny it could almost reflect a person's shadow, I still subconsciously rolled up my sleeves and washed it thoroughly. At 2:30 p.m. in Xingming Park, under the shade of the trees, people gathered in small groups, discussing animatedly. Why is not the young boss come yet? I can't wait anymore. I wonder how the police investigation went. Will he still be allowed to sell? If you ask me, the young boss is definitely fine. Could I not know if there was something wrong with what I ate? Someone must have maliciously reported him. Normally at this time, they would already be happily gnawing on pig trotters. But now, they could only stretch their necks and gaze into the distance. Just as some were extremely disappointed and ready to head home. Suddenly, the sound of an engine approached. Seeing the familiar food cart, everyone's spirits instantly lifted. He's here. He is bringing the pig trotters over. It had not been a waste to wait here for so long. I sat in the driver's seat and glanced out the window. I did not expect that after yesterday's drama, there would still be so many familiar faces camping out here. Of course, quite a few were also there just to watch the spectacle. As soon as I parked the cart, the crowd swiftly surged forward. Boss, you are finally here. Hurry up and open the awning. Boss, are the test results out? How did it go? I do not care. Just pack me 2 rattan pepper ones to satisfy my craving. No need to ask, he is definitely fine. Otherwise, how would he dare to come set up his stall so openly? The crowd was chattering away, and the scene was quite chaotic. Standing in front of the stall, I felt my head buzzing with the noise. Just as I was about to speak, I heard the roar of a car engine approaching rapidly. A police car screeched to a halt. The 3 police officers from yesterday stepped out of the car. Captain Wang, the leader, scanned the chaotic crowd with a stern expression, then took quick strides forward and spoke. Citizens and friends, please quiet down. After our professional and meticulous testing, all indicators of the food sold by this vendor meet the standard requirements. Everyone can purchase with peace of mind. After speaking, Captain Wang held up the test report in his hand to show everyone. Following that, right in front of all the customers, the 3 officers turned to me and solemnly bowed their heads slightly. Vendor friend, we offer you our sincere apologies. As soon as this was said, those who were still a bit worried instantly felt completely reassured. The line whoosh instantly grew much longer. Many people started making calls to summon their friends to come by. I glanced at the long line and could not help but offer a friendly reminder. Dear customers, I only made 60 portions of pig trotters today. Please line up at your own discretion. This very simple sentence, just a few words, made countless foodies feel like they had plunged into an ice cellar on a hot day. Why did you make so few today? By the time my friends get here, will there be any left? Why else? It is all that idiot who reported him. If I find out which jerk did it, I will send him to the hospital for free. Someone craned their neck and started cursing outright. Seeing that the mission was accomplished, Captain Wang ordered the 2 junior officers to wrap it up and head back. Yesterday, his willpower was crushed by these pig trotters. His lunch today did not even taste good. Right now, he absolutely had to hold the line. Hearing this, the 2 junior officers extremely reluctantly shifted their feet in the other direction. But their eyes were like magnets, locked onto my stall, unwilling to look away. Captain Wang saw this and felt it looked really bad for their image. He quickly nudged the 2 of them with his elbow. But the 2 men, already intoxicated by the smell, were rooted to the spot like statues, refusing to budge. Captain Wang, both angry and anxious, lowered his voice and scolded. What are you 2 standing there for? Let us go. Scolded like this, the 2 became as quiet as winter cicadas. And for a moment, it was quite awkward. They had only quickly shoveled down a few bites of their boxed lunch and were not full at all. Smelling something this delicious now, how could they not be hungry? An old man waiting in the line clearly heard the sound of their stomachs growling. He looked to his left and saw the 2 junior officers following Captain Wang, walking away with faces full of disappointment. The old man thought for a moment and spoke up. Officer comrades, no matter how busy you are, you must eat well. Look at those 2 poor kids. Their stomachs are growling so loud it sounds like they are playing music. Have something to eat before you go. You work so hard for all of us. You should not neglect your own bodies. The old man's voice was a bit hoarse, and his weather-beaten face was full of sympathy for them. Captain Wang was stunned at first, And upon hearing the end, his old face blushed red. But he quickly adjusted his emotions and regained his usual composure. That is true, the two young lads did not eat well at noon. We will listen to you, sir. With that, he turned his head, shot a glance at the two junior officers, and ordered, then you two go line up. I will go to the car to continue handling official business. Receiving the order, the two nodded frantically and sprinted to the back of the line at top speed. This grandpa is so nice, he is like my own grandpa. Honestly, it is all thanks to your stomach putting in the work and growling so loud. Otherwise, we definitely would not have gotten to eat these pig trotters. Wait, was not that your stomach? The two men widened their eyes, turned their heads, and simultaneously stared at the police car not far away. This Captain Wang. He was starving that badly himself, yet he still insisted on dragging us away. Not hungry. Fine, later, he only gets own and we will split the rest. Lining up is torturous work after all. 10 minutes later, the two junior officers got their hands on 4 portions of pig trotters. By this time, there were no empty seats at the tables left, so they just found a random spot to stand and started eating. These pig trotters. They make this life worth living. The 60 pig trotters sold out very quickly. I packed things up and drove right off. After picking Nuonuo up and bringing her home, the little Own skipped happily, straight toward the Princess Elsa doll on the sofa. She hugged the doll with both hands, leaning her little mouth gently against the doll's ear, muttering something. I did not know what kind of secrets she was whispering to the doll. Her big, dark eyes squinted into 2 curved crescents. After playing for a while, Nuonuo seemed to think of something, and her expression instantly turned serious. She ran over to me on her short little legs, and tugged at my clothes. Daddy, is this Princess Elsa doll super expensive? Today at kindergarten, she heard a female classmate showing off, saying her mom bought her a doll that could talk and tell stories, and said it cost $1,000. So her own doll must not be cheap either. Nuonuo did not know how much money I was making a day now. She only knew that back then, Mommy despised Daddy for earning too little. Daddy, let us go return Princess Elsa. Even though I played with her for a few days, I did not get her dirty or break her. She is still just like new. She did not want Daddy spending too much money on her. Daddy, you do not need to buy me such expensive toys anymore. Actually, having those other dolls I have is enough. Nuonuo's little mouth kept babbling on and on. I listened quietly, my heart feeling sour and aching. For a child her age, they usually want to buy every single toy they see and refuse to walk away. How come this child was so considerate of me? It made this old father of hers suddenly feel the urge to shed a tear. I looked at my daughter tenderly. Nuonuo, do not worry. This was not expensive, Daddy can afford it. From now on, Daddy can afford to buy you whatever you want. Hearing that I did not sound like I was joking, Nuonuo instantly regained her childish innocence and planted a big mwah right on my cheek. Yay, I love Daddy the most. After I dropped Nuonuo off at kindergarten, I went home and slept until noon as usual. Only then did I pack up the 70 freshly braised pig trotters and head out towards Xingmen Park. Today was my 6th day setting up the stall. Once I sold these 70 trotters, the system's required quota would be met. I wondered what kind of reward I would get for finishing the task a day early. By the time I arrived, the customers were already eagerly waiting at the usual spot. The moment I lifted the pot lid, several people braved the billowing steam and rushed right at me. Boss, you are finally here. How many pig trotters did you bring today? Is it enough for everyone? Boss, pick the 2 biggest ones for me. I want the original flavor. The customers came at me with an intensity even more ferocious than the past few days. It scared me so much I quickly shooed them back. I only have 70 portions today. Once they are gone, they are gone. Everyone line up and step back a bit. Do not get burned. You only brought 10 more than yesterday. But the number of people here had increased significantly. Some even brought their whole families along, carrying their little babies just to claim an extra headcount. They were only a step away from walking their cats and dogs here to take up a quota spot. In a flash, the sound of urgent footsteps erupted, followed by a chorus of roaring complaints. Stop pushing, who stepped on my toes? People began pushing and shoving each other, momentarily exposing their barbaric, primal genes. Everyone wanted to buy the pig trotters early to secure their prize. The young park security guard who had come to line up suddenly had a flash of inspiration. An idea formed in his mind, and he immediately took it upon himself to maintain order at the scene. Everyone, please do not push. Every time one of you gets hurt, it breaks my heart. As he shouted, he waved the little baton in his hand. With his posturing, he actually looked the part. After maintaining order for a bit, the young guard swaggered straight to the very front of the line, standing with his hands on his hips. Once the previous customer finished paying, the very next second, his previously stern face switched to a flattering, fawning smile directed at me. "Boss, give me own rotten pepper and own spicy." Good heavens, so all that posturing was just to secure perks for yourself. Naturally, the young guard did not get away with it. Under the collective fury of the crowd, he got a few hard knocks on the head. At this point, I was so busy my hands were practically a blur. I simply switched my electronic scale to voice broadcast mode. Once a pig trotter was weighed, the scale would automatically announce the price. It really saved me a lot of energy. However, the surrounding vendors suffered. Their own businesses had not even made a single sale yet. But the electronic voice from the pig trotter stall just kept going off non-stop. Was not it loud enough? Having to hear it twice every single time, were they trying to drive people crazy? Alipay received 160 yuan. Over half an hour later, as the final notification chimed, I looked at the completely empty thermal pot. Today's pig trotters are all sold out. Everyone, you can head home now. At the exact same time, a familiar electronic prompt sounded in my mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the task own day early. Reward obtained, 500,000 RMB. 500,000 RMB, my God. My heart gave a fierce leap. Joy instantly surged into my heart. This was no small sum. Nuonuo and I's living conditions could be vastly improved. Immediately after, the system's notification chimed again. The host may choose to continue setting up the stall at the current location for own more day. If you sell an additional 100 portions of pig trotters, you will receive a mysterious reward. Hearing this, I was quite surprised. I originally thought that since I finished the task today, I could take tomorrow off. But setting up the stall for own more day to get a mysterious reward was a total win. Plus, I had a hunch that this reward would be even more generous than the 500,000. Thinking this, I immediately clicked confirm. Meanwhile, in a certain neighborhood, an expectant mother took a bite of the pig trotter and was instantly blown away. How could something so delicious exist in this world? She, who had not been able to keep any food down during her pregnancy, suddenly had eyes gleaming with sheer delight. And this piece of news instantly swept through her social media circle. Other pregnant women who saw the news all started pressuring their husbands. You must go get me a portion tomorrow. Completely oblivious to this news. The next afternoon, I set up my stall as usual. I diligently drove my cart with 100 pig trotters to Xingmeng Park. The boss is here, someone in the crowd shouted. It instantly stirred up a massive wave. Everyone immediately grew incredibly excited, looking as if they wanted to bang gongs and beat drums to welcome me. After parking the cart, without waiting for the crowd to ask, I announced directly, I have 100 portions of pig trotters today, 25 of each flavor. Do not rush, line up slowly, there is enough for everyone. These words were like heavenly music. The crowd was so thrilled they almost jumped for joy. I came too late yesterday and missed out. Today I dragged my husband here, and we are getting all 4 flavors. What a glorious day today is. To think we would have such good fortune. Did the boss decide to scale up his business? If there are 100 portions, it is not too late to call people over, we will definitely get some. 10 minutes later, the sudden screech of brakes rang out. Then, the roar of car engines approached from afar. 10 different private cars swarmed imposingly toward the park entrance. The little security guard in the booth had his feet kicked up on the desk, dozing happily. He had just eaten a pig trotter and was still savoring the aftertaste. The sudden commotion at the gate made him jump in fright. What is the situation? What is going on? The guard looked completely bewildered, his brain working in overdrive. He had not received any notice about VIPs coming for an inspection. Was there some kind of emergency? Or was some big celebrity shooting a scene here? The guard's brain rapidly processed the possibilities, and he came to a conclusion. First, safely accommodate the arrivals. He immediately stood outside the door, his face plastered with a bright smile. At that moment, the driver's side window of a Hongqi sedan rolled down halfway. A young man wearing toed sunglasses looked out with a face full of question marks. This park is pretty good, even though it is remote, and does not even have a proper parking lot. The security guard they hired is quite unique. Not only does he carry himself well, but his polite etiquette makes you feel like a spring breeze. Hee, excuse me sir, I am just parking for a bit and then I will leave. The security guard was instantly stunned. His eyes widened completely, and he started shouting at the top of his lungs. No parking allowed here, all of you, scram immediately. That own sentence left all 10 driving husbands completely helpless. The nearby parking spots were all completely full too. The nearest parking lot was over a kilometer away. Left with no choice, a group of heavily pregnant women had to slowly and carefully get out of the cars. Every single one of them looked incredibly grumpy. The resentment they directed at the security guard could have fed an entire army of evil sword immortals. Just then, a familiar braised aroma drifted over. This scent was like a soul-stealing ghost, instantly shifting all their attention straight to the food cart. Their husbands had all gone off to park the cars, and who knows when they would be back. Unable to hold back their impatience, they could only hold their big bellies and slowly waddle toward the back of the line. At this point, the shaded area under the trees was already packed with people. These expectant mothers had no choice but to stand in the sun, seeing that every single one of them looked so plump and blessed, with bellies full of pregnant glow. A few aunties could not bear it, and actively lent them their own stools and umbrellas. Of course, letting them cut the line was impossible. Not in this lifetime. After lining up for over 10 minutes, it was finally the pregnant women's turn. The short-haired expectant mother at the very front stepped up to the stall, pointed at her round, bulging belly and said to me, "Boss, I am pregnant with twins, so counting me and my 2 babies, I need 6 portions of pig trotters altogether." Before her words even faded, the pregnant woman behind her refused to be outdone. "Boss, I have got triplets in my belly, I need 8 portions of pig trotters." Then came an even more outrageous own. "1. I have quintuplets. Boss, you have to save 12 portions of pig trotters for me. It is not that I want to eat them. I am just afraid my babies will go hungry." Alright, so this is how we are playing. If we go by your logic, even another 100 portions would not be enough to satisfy you all. I did not even need to speak up. The other customers naturally were not going to let them get away with it. Own by own, they formed a united front and loudly protested. The group of expectant mothers finally had no choice but to settle down. As more and more pregnant women got their pig trotters, gasps of sheer praise erupted in front of my stall. "Wow, it is so delicious. No wonder I had morning sickness before. Turns out I just had not tasted the good stuff yet. What an amazing surprise. I feel like my life is complete. It is so good it makes me tear up. Oh baby, the 2 of us finally get to eat meat." They screamed excitedly like fangirls, and then each held up their pig trotter, entirely focused on gnawing away. Soon all 100 pig trotters were completely wiped out. Looking at the utterly satisfied expressions on everyone's faces, only one thought rose in my mind: it was time to close up the stall. I swiftly placed the lids back on the pots, and packed the tables and stools into the cart. I was personally quite satisfied with this grand finale. However, where there is cheering, there is also crying. Many late arriving regular customers were completely dumbfounded when they saw I was already packing up. Coming at this exact time yesterday, they could still buy pig trotters. Why did so many pregnant women suddenly show up today, eating something so greasy? Did not they get morning sickness? The regular customers who missed out felt like their whole world was crumbling. They blocked my food cart, refusing to give up as they pleaded. "Boss, is it really all gone? How about you work a little overtime and braise another pot? I will even come back in the middle of the night to buy it." I was shocked. It is such a hot day. How could your 37-degree mouth say such ice-cold words? I have already worked a whole day of overtime, and you want me to work more? I looked apologetic and spread my hands helplessly. "I am so sorry, I really can't do it. I just can't." I had originally considered telling the customers that I would not be coming back anymore, but seeing the current situation, if I told them that, would not these customers go completely insane? Whether I would even be able to make it home in one piece would be up for debate. They might just stage a scene straight out of Ragnarok. Thinking of this, I sighed heavily in my heart. Forget it, it is better to just slip away quietly. After coaxing the customers away, I sat in the driver's seat. Just as I was about to step on the gas and make my grand escape, the system's voice chimed in. "Congratulations to the host for completing the own week stall task. Reward, a villa in the Yuhu Jinyuan estate." Yuhu Jinyuan. I was slightly stunned. If I remembered correctly, this estate was the absolute premier luxury villa community in South City. The landscaping, environment, and scenic facilities were all top tier. The security was also incredibly strict. A single house there would cost several $1,000,000 at minimum, and the larger layouts cost close to 20 million. And I was just given this kind of luxury mansion directly. As expected, the mysterious reward truly lived up to the hype. According to the system's explanation, the gifted villa was fully furnished and ready for immediate move-in. I was instantly overjoyed and immediately hit the brakes to park the cart. Why would I still live in that old apartment? Since it was still early, I would pick up the kid and move right away. I would put the important stuff in the food cart, and just call a moving van for the rest. As for the old apartment, there were still over 2 months left on the lease, which was easy to handle. I could just sublet it when the time came. I picked up my kid, went back home, and started packing up the house. Nuonuo, we are moving to a new home. Nuonuo's eyes instantly lit up, and she asked with sheer anticipation, Daddy, a new home. Where is our new house? I smiled and patted her little head. Baby, our new house is in a very beautiful place. You will definitely love it. Nuonuo danced with joy, and hurriedly started packing her little toys. Once the stuff in the house was mostly sorted, I found a few large boxes and packed them all up neatly. An hour later, the big Own and the little Own arrived at their new home. In front of us stood a 3-story villa. The exterior was grand and elegant, and it even came with a courtyard. The second floor was the bedroom area, overlooking our own garden and the estate's lake view. I specifically checked out the children's room. The entire room was themed in soft pink. On the children's bed in the center sat an entire row of plush toys. Next to it was a matching little study and a lounge area. Nuonuo's big eyes lit up brilliantly. Wow, is this my room? I love it so much. The little Own was so excited she pounced straight toward it on her little feet, almost rolling around on the carpet. Seeing her so happy, my mood soared as well. Right at that moment, the system's voice chimed in instantly. New task for this week, sell 100 portions of Rigiamo daily. Stall location, the entrance of Fuse Temple. Rigiamo price, 50 yuan. Bro system, are you out of your mind? Selling pig trotters in a park was a well-behaved, normal operation. But selling meat Rigiamo right at the entrance of a Buddhist temple, is not that going a bit too far? The system required me to go to a temple to sell Rigiamo. Was I going there to crash their party? Or to test the monk's willpower? I was genuinely baffled. But having no other choice, I still showed my respect. Ding! The complete guide to making Rigiamo has been issued. I roughly skimmed through the knowledge points flooding into my mind. There was cumin stir-fried meat flavor, beef flavor, duck flavor, crawfish flavor. My heart skipped a beat, secretly thinking this was bad news. When it came to the culinary skills and ingredients provided by the system, I was actually quite confident. But what if this Rigiamo turned out too fragrant? If monks wept upon seeing it and nuns were heartbroken upon smelling it, what was I supposed to do? If I made the masters in the temple crave meat, would not that be a sin? Wait, no. If the Rigiamo made the masters crave it, that just meant their willpower was not strong enough. My thoughts instantly cleared up. I was clearly helping the masters with their cultivation. The masters should be thanking me. However, if I wanted to sell 100 Rigiamos by 8:00 a.m., sleeping for a few more hours and then waking up to make them definitely would not leave enough time. So I threw off the covers and got out of bed. I quietly peeked into Nuonuo's room along the way. The little Own was hugging her doll, sleeping soundly. The kitchen was on the first floor, so it should not disturb her rest. As for what flavor to make on the first day of setting up the stall, I decided to go with the authentic Rigiamo, which is what people call Laji Rigiamo, braised meat in a baked bun. The system did not provide ready-made bun dough, which meant I had to personally knead the dough, divide it, and roll out the buns. Arriving in the kitchen, I summoned the flour, yeast, baking powder, and lard from the system, placing them on the counter. This time, the system provided premium flour from the Hatao region in Inner Mongolia. Anyone who frequently makes pastries definitely knows that if you want flour to have a natural fragrance, you have to go to the countryside and buy it from the villagers. Now, I was going to start making the laji meat. I summoned fresh pork bones and chicken from the system, and threw them into the pot to simmer for the stock. I also poured in some of the aged master broth from making the braised pig trotters earlier. This master broth had completely absorbed the essence of 600 pig trotters. To achieve its current state, its value goes without saying. After finishing that, I took some pork shoulder out of the system. Pork shoulder has a perfect mix of fat and lean meat. When braised, the lean meat would not be dry or tough. The texture would be smooth and tender without being greasy. As for the size of the meat chunks, there were no specific requirements. I could literally cut them with my eyes closed. I yawned and walked toward the living room. There was actually a massage chair sitting in the corner of the living room. After working for so long, if I did not get a massage and play some games, I would honestly feel like I was doing myself a disservice. An hour later, I got up from the massage chair. It was not that I was not sleepy, but I was woken up by the chirping of little birds flying by. Several birds were not sleeping, completely mesmerized by the aroma. They were chirping non-stop all around the villa. Thankfully, I was not in that old apartment complex anymore. Otherwise, I felt like I definitely would have had slippers thrown at me by the neighbors. After finishing everything, I dropped nuonuo off at school, and then loaded the semi-finished Rugiamo ingredients onto the cart, and headed to Fuse Temple to set up my stall. Fuse Temple is a long-renowned, tranquil sanctuary in South City. Because the temple was known to be highly effective in answering prayers, the stream of people coming to pray daily was endless. This was my first time coming here. I parked the cart and prepared to start business. The space here was not large, so I did not bring out the folding tables and stools. I took out the small whiteboard and wrote, Laji Rugiamo, 50 yuan each, and hung it outside. Normal Rugiamos usually cost around 15 bucks each, but with the top-tier ingredients provided by the system paired with my craftsmanship, plus the fact that the portion size was double that of regular street stalls, it was absolutely worth more than the price. I turned on the multifunctional oven on the food cart, and placed 4 baiji buns inside to bake. Nobody was ordering right now, but I was feeling a bit hungry myself. When the rich aroma of wheat wafted out, I pulled the tray out and flipped them over. Once baked, the buns puffed up beautifully, and the color of the crust was absolutely gorgeous. When poured onto the cutting board, they made a series of thud sounds. Needless to say, just hearing the sound let you know they were crispy but not hard. Buns like this did not even need a knife to be sliced open. Each side had a natural crack. Meanwhile, Old Man Chin, dressed in a Taoist robe, carrying a knapsack and leaning on a fortune-telling sign, slowly strolled across the street. The great auspice he divined this morning, he had no idea what it referred to. He looked around, searching for the potential great joy that was about to appear. He smelled an intense, rich aroma of meat. Who changed their recipe? I have been here for 2 years, and I have never smelled this before. Instantly, his stomach began to rumble loudly. Rugiamo, then I must give it a try. Master Chin strode forward, and walked toward my food cart. I was holding a Rugiamo with both hands, completely oblivious to Old Man Chen's approach. I took a fierce bite. The outer crust was fragrant and crispy, while the inside of the bun was soft and delicious. The fatty meat melted in the mouth without being greasy, and the lean meat had no tough fibers, brimming with flavorful oil. Not bad, not bad. This bun has to be eaten hot. If I can't sell the remaining 3.5 hours, I will just eat them all myself. At that moment, Master Chin arrived right in front of the food cart. Seeing my look of utter enjoyment, he cleared his throat. Young man, your Rugiamo smells incredibly fragrant. Give me own too, won't you? Who was that with the loud, gruff voice? Thank goodness it did not scare me into dropping my Rugiamo. I snapped back to reality. Although I was reluctant to part with it, I still set my Rugiamo aside and replied, all right, please wait a moment. Master Chin surveyed the clean food cart and cooking utensils, and nodded. Young people's stalls really are cleaner. Last time, he divined a great omen of misfortune, which scared him so much he did not dare leave the house. Finally, after starving for a whole day, he could not hold out anymore and went out. As a result, a bowl of malatang sent straight down to his stomach turned him into a warrior. He practically died on the toilet. Who knows if that stall owner picked up rotten vegetable leaves from the market. That night, sitting on the toilet, he secretly swore he would never eat outside food again. Your Rugiamo is ready. 50 bucks, thank you. I pointed at the price listed on the small whiteboard. Master Chen was instantly shocked. So expensive. Little brother, this price of yours is ridiculously high. Do not tell me that I, half-immortal Chen, can only buy 4 of these after making own sale. You are truly outdoing the master here. Thank goodness you kids did not enter my line of work. But then again, the stall owner had the price clearly marked. He could only blame himself for not looking closely. He could not blame others, so he had no choice but to pay and take the Rugiamo. Feeling the scalding heat of the Rugiamo, he was not in a hurry to eat it. When outside, one must somewhat maintain the image of a master. Have you ever seen an immortal like master, walking and eating on the street? Master Chin carried the Rugiamo, staggering slowly toward his usual stall spot. After some thought, he set up his stall, smoothed out his Taoist robe, and sat down on his folding chair. When working outside, On's outfit and demeanor cannot be sloppy. He was a professional after all. On the other side, Wang Shui, having had a huge fight with her boyfriend, was wandering around outside feeling depressed. She originally just wanted to walk around casually to clear her mind. Without realizing it, she had wandered onto a bustling street. She normally believed quite a bit in tarot cards and horoscopes. Right now, looking at the master's stall, an urge to get a reading surged in her heart. Wang Shui scanned the area and chose the one that looked most appealing to her. That master not only had an immortal-like appearance, but his stall also displayed a few ancient books, a compass, and some props she could not name. Figuring he must be very professional, she walked straight toward him. At that moment, Master Chen had finished setting up and brought out his Rigiamo. The Rigiamo was at the perfect temperature now. He calmly took a bite. Crunch. First came the wheat fragrance and crispiness of the baiji bun, followed by the savory, rich flavor of the laji meat. The fatty meat did not taste greasy, and the lean meat was simmered so tenderly it had absolutely no tough, stringy texture. With just one bite, the braising juices flowed down the corner of his mouth, leaving a lingering aftertaste. The next second, Master Chen saw someone standing in front of his stall. He instantly twitched his mouth, suddenly understanding how I felt earlier. He finally got to eat something good, and having to be interrupted was simply too agonizing. Master Chen helplessly swallowed the Rigiamo in his mouth, and smoothly spoke, character reading or fortune-telling. Master Chen's mouth was gleaming with oil. Sensing something, he looked down at his stall and realized he did not bring any tissues, so he simply waved his large hand, and hastily wiped his mouth with the broad sleeve of his Taoist robe. The cuff of the Taoist robe immediately got stained with spots of oil. That previously ethereal, immortal-like vibe instantly vanished without a trace. Wang Shui, standing opposite him, watched in dumbfounded shock. She felt like a flock of crows was cawing as they flew right over her head. What is going on? Is this old man really a master? Wang Shui turned around, ready to leave. Just as she took a step, Master Chen put down the Rigiamo in his hand, reached out and called out, "Miss, please stay." Master Chen narrowed his eyes, carefully observing Wang Shui. Seeing her swollen eyes from crying, and those alarming eye bags, an idea secretly formed in his mind. "Miss, your yin-tang space between the eyebrows is slightly dark. You must be entangled in matters of heartbreak. If my guess is correct, you are here because of relationship troubles." Hearing this, Wang Shui's footsteps subconsciously halted. A look of sheer astonishment appeared on her face. Was not she exactly fighting with her boyfriend? She did not expect this seemingly unreliable old man to speak with such pinpoint accuracy. Just as she was thinking this, Master Chen continued to speak, "And looking at your facial features, one can tell that you and your beloved must have had some conflicts recently. If not resolved in time, I fear it will cause many troubles in your life." Wang Shui grew more and more shocked as she listened. She had not even said anything yet. This old man. No, this master, could he actually be the real deal? Even though he looked a bit monkey-like when eating, he still had some real skills. Seeing her gradually changing expression, Master Chen chuckled to himself, not in a rush. As for how he guessed it, naturally, it was because he saw the hickey on Wang Shui's neck. Young folks are always so eager and impulsive. Crying like this now, what else could it be but a fight? As a master, not only must Owen have strong observational skills, but Owen must also know a thing or two about logical deduction and psychology. Sure enough, under Master Chen's calm gaze, Wang Shui immediately panicked. She wrung her hands together and asked urgently, "Master, please tell me how to resolve this." As her words fell, Master Chen slightly turned his body and looked toward the sign on his stall, fortune-telling and problem-solving, 200 per session. Wang Shui understood the hint immediately. $200 was indeed a lot for a student like her, but so what? Let alone 200, even if it were 2,000. She would still grit her teeth and pay it. As Alipay received 200 yuan rang out, Master Chen narrowed his eyes and slowly spoke. "Little girl, the path of love is rugged and bumpy. Since your heart is so sincere, I, the master, shall naturally offer you some guidance. Look to the east. That is where the purple aura comes from the east. There, perhaps, lies the turning point of your love life." Wang Shui was completely confused listening to this. What on earth did any of this mean? "Master, what kind of resolution method could be in the east?" Master Chen gave a mysterious smile, held up own finger, wagged it, and answered leisurely, "Heaven's secrets must not be leaked. Go and explore the east, and you shall naturally reap a harvest. But remember, sincerity brings results. Do not give up halfway." Wang Shui stood frozen in place, looking completely bewildered. This was way too esoteric, was not it? Could she have been scammed? But she heard there were rules regarding fortune-telling fees. If you asked for a refund, it would cause a backlash on yourself. After hesitating for a moment, she helplessly said, "All right, master, I will go take a look in the east. I hope I really get some sort of harvest like you said." After downing a luxurious Rigiamo, I still did not feel entirely satisfied. This thing was insanely delicious. I really could not understand how anyone could resist such a delicacy and not buy own. There were still 2 rugiamos left. I hardened my heart, and decided not to wait for customers anymore. I would just devour another on myself as a sign of respect. I lifted the lid, picked out a piece of meat, chopped it up, and stuffed it into the bun. Right at that moment, "Smells so good, boss. Give me a rugiamo." Wang Shui, attracted by the rich meat aroma, leaned right over. The next second, her eyes swept over the numbers on the sign, and she was instantly stunned. "How much?" "This bun costs $50 each." Just now, that fortune teller, relying solely on the word East, charged her $200. And now, she had run into a bun that cost $50 each. She had reasonable grounds to suspect she had walked into a den of thieves. I seemed to be mentally prepared for this reaction long ago. I took a bite of my rugiamo and nodded. Wang Shui's eyes widened completely. So he was not even going to pretend anymore. This stall owner was quite audacious. "Boss, selling it this expensive? Did you stuff a whole pig in there? The ingredients I use are all top tier, and the portions are huge. It is quite normal for the price to be a bit higher. Look at the on in my hand, you can't even hold it with own hand." I explained with a few words and then focused on eating the rugiamo in my hand. "Then give me on." For no other reason than the fact that she had not eaten all night. Wang Shui was genuinely starving. Plus, among all the snack stalls here, mine definitely smelled the most delicious. She took a bite. Wang Shui's eyes snapped wide open. This bun's crust was not tough or hard at all. It was incredibly crispy. It also had a certain chewiness to it, so it did not shatter into crumbs with own bite. It was so delicious her soul was about to float away and flutter its little wings in the air. No wonder that fortune-telling old man earlier was craving it like a starving ghost. She herself had not tasted such a delicacy before either. "Boss, pack 2 more for me. A bun this big." "Own should be enough for a how to eat, right?" Wang Shui ate her bun with own hand while hurriedly paying with the other. She had spent $350 all at once today. Later, she would have to ask her royal father for a little pocket money support. When I lifted the lid of the pot, the aroma of the rugiamo instantly wafted in all directions. Some tourists, catching a whiff of this fragrance, immediately started searching for its source. "Whoa, it is coming from that little rugiamo stall over there." The tourists immediately crowded around. "Boss, give me 2 portions of rugiamo." "Boss, look at how many of us there are. Can you give us a group discount price?" Without a moment's hesitation, I spoke up. "Sorry, no bargaining. The rugiamo is absolutely worth more than the price." A few strong-willed middle-aged folks, seeing there was no discount, turned and left. However, driven by a powerful primal instinct to eat, quite a few people simply paid up directly. They had been craving this smell for so long just now. There was no reason to back down at the last minute. Besides, if it smelled this incredible, would not eating it send them straight to heaven? Even if it was a bit pricey, they were more than willing to walk right into the trap. Watching me scoop out a pile of laji meat from the pot, chunks of perfectly marbled pork belly lay on the cutting board with a radiant, reddish hue. The fibers of the lean meat were distinct, and the texture was clearly visible. Own look and you knew the quality was top tier. It made people crave it so much they simply could not tear their eyes away. As the saying goes, I fear not being crushed to pieces, as long as the delicious flavor lingers on my lips. Zhou Yun had come over very early, and having jogged part of the way, she directly snagged the very first rugiamo. The weight of it was heavy, a massive bun. Even before eating it, it gave off an unprecedented sense of satisfaction. The hot bun clamping the warm, incredibly fragrant laji meat was practically overflowing with aroma. Under the watchful eyes of the surrounding crowd, Zhou Yun took a huge bite. The baiji bun was baked to perfection, the crispiness of the crust complementing the soft fluffiness of the inside flawlessly. The tourists who had not bought own yet, seeing her eat with such relish, all got red-eyed with intense jealousy. "Boss, you have not made mine yet, right?" "The 3 more. The scene was extraordinarily lively. Meanwhile, a little novice monk at the temple entrance was diligently sweeping the fallen leaves on the ground. As he got closer to the entrance, a waft of meat aroma drifted over, making him instantly dizzy with craving. The little novice monk, losing all self-control, leaned on his broom and sniffed for a few seconds before snapping back to reality. He pressed his hands together and chanted, "Sinful, sinful. Which benefactor is selling braised meat out here? Are they trying to kill someone with this smell? Do they not know this is a pure and tranquil Buddhist sanctuary?" The little novice monk secretly held his breath, gripped his broom, and slowly continued gathering the fallen leaves. How did that song go again? "The little monk goes down the mountain for alms, The old monk instructs him. The braised meat at the foot of the mountain is a tiger. If you encounter it, you must absolutely stay away. Yes, exactly, as long as he does not look, does not listen, does not smell, and does not think about it, he will be fine. But he never expected the aroma to act as if it had legs, drilling precisely straight into his nose. Forget it, I will go hide. The little novice monk